さあ皆さんこんにちは。ALGS Day7NA ですね。アメリカ地域ですね。アメリカ北米の NA を見ていきましょう。月曜日はね、このぐらいの時間からね、さあどうするかなっていうところから、見事に甘えて配信しませんでしたが、今日は配信をしっかりとします。これすなわち成長ということでね、しっかりとやっていきましょうと。NA ですね。NA は順位どんな感じですか？お、これあれだな、 EMEA と逆で下から上を見ていくタイプ。そうだね、下から上を見ていくタイプだね。あ、ちげえ、30位から21しか見せてくんね。なんでそういうことする？これはい、 OK。まずオプティックね。はい、オプティックが一旦最強です。でフェイズは前半戦調子良かったけど後半ちょっとずつ落として、まあでも悪くないというか、A の中で1位。ミートラバーズがコンプレクシー、ダークゼロ、ワイルドカードが来て、ワイルドカードぐらいまでかな。ワイルドカードぐらいまでは、世界大会にこのまんまいけば普通にいけそう。で X セットはバリ余裕だね。X セットは C で試合数が少ないにもかかわらず7位入ってきてるんで、この1位とんじゃないかな。平均順位で言ったら多分オプティックより、平均獲得ポイントで言ったら多分オプティックよりも上になるでしょう。で TSM が結構ギリきつい、って感じかな。あと多分2日分かな。2日で80から90の間を取んなきゃいけないから、平均15から20ぐらいを取んないと世界大会がきついです。 TSM はこっからこの TSM 以下の AB はもうきついね。 TSM 以下の AB は、これから伸ばさないと入れないって感じかね。で1位から6位までは世界大会圏内には入れてて、あとは多分 C の上位チームが入ってきて全部で10チームみたいになると予想されます。じゃあ早速見ていきましょう。ストポからかな。初動のかぶりはセノーテかぶってるわ。セノーテは違うね。IMC と横っちょ OCC が当たってるから平石いねえじゃん。オプティックと LG がかぶってる。マジか。平石ワンチームいました。ライズすごいね。ライズ一人だけ。なるほどなるほど。車取ってバット取ってたんだね。ルミノシティとオプティックなんかどっちも調子いいチームじゃん。やばい、衝動かぶってます。どちらも超戦闘強いチームですね。ジェンバーテクラスのヤンヤ。この選手が NA のジェンバーテと呼ばれております。ジェンバーテ N 来ちゃったけどね。オプティック追われてるね。LG がこれ優勢。オプティック逃げてって LG はどんどん押していく。ただこれ押せば押すほどオプティックは逆にミルにいるダークゼロに近づいちゃう。まさかの1位オプティックが初動がかぶってしまって、しかも追われるというね展開。オプティックは全部0ポイントじゃなければ世界大会はいけるんだけれども、あえてかぶせたのか、あえてかぶせた可能性はあるね。ルミノシティが邪魔でかぶした可能性もある。もともとどっちがどっちもあれなのかな。どっちもダウンドビースト折りだったかな。ちょっと覚えてないけども、オプティックはミルに来たと。ただミルはダークゼロいるぞ。全員ちょうど奥が降りてるの。 から物資余ってる感じか。王者が王者らしからぬ。ピックはどうする？やるのか？シアがいるから。さあ現在実質1位のエクセットだね。最強すぎますエクセット。でダークゼロ移動早っ。移動早いのにアマ強っ。
How is that possible? And yet, here it is on our screens. Dark Zero have a pretty easy time traversing the map. They don't have that many attachments. What they do have landing over at Mill is a heck of a lot of shields to work with, and so their rotation up towards Stormcatcher should afford them plenty of time to set up and maybe even take this fight with Oxygen. Enemy pokes his head out a little too far, finds himself with a surprise one, and Hill repeats the mistake, dropping down. That's the one purple you had, Oxygen, and it's gone. So's your IGL. They gotta head for the hills.
Now left up to enemy there will quickly be pushed upon, and you think for a second that Oxygen, especially on that trident, have the early advantage and actually take this spot away from Dark Zero. They are so quick to test the limits of this roster.
That was a big surprise and not a happy one. Going down like that, Oxygen never really got a chance to fight, and Dark Zero now have height, and I will say tenuous height, as this is technically just below Stormcatcher, but a powerful and flexible position when it comes to planning out their next moves. Notably, Dark Zero have chosen not to run something like the Valkyrie, however, and so if you are stuck on the low ground, it's going to be a problem.
Now, I will say, this zone and what we have potentially started to see thus far can cater, though, to this low ground, to this choke that you currently see Zero looking at here. And granted, they're not going to have that high ground position of Storm Point, but I will say, with Zero, of course, on this Bangalore, we talk about line of sight. It's always going to be relatively safe if he manages those smoke cooldowns. For now, though, we're going to take their time.
スパイダーって頭ちっちゃくない？
Shots in the distance send our spiders home.
3連ぐらい
I don't
で
know where they go after they die, but
一発でへし当てってよ。
For those of you at home perhaps unaware, Zephyr is terribly arachnophobic. And so he does not have a high opinion of the spiders. And honestly, Dark Zero doing you a favor, making sure that they don't stick around for too long. 100 Thieves down here on the low ground, they're going to know this was happening, but again, not landing at Mill, not having the benefit of this powerful POI that Dark Zero picked up. 100 Thieves don't have that much in the way of ability to fight and have to pick their next spots very carefully. I like height outside of Lagoon. It's actually going to put you in a good position to maybe farm up some of those white shields and put yourself on higher health pools.
We pull away from deep into the heart of our zone. We take a look, of course, at tripods on their rotation, but Optic still here trying to capitalize on that replicator. We know they've got these sight lines. Potentially a 3-2-1, potentially someone out if they can.
As Nick Merckx drops to the ground, I found myself wondering what Tripod's plan is, for it surely can't be to stick around an immobile Seer on the ground already, Gent up on height. Means they're farming some shields up, but Tripods want to rotate past this. That's what their actions are telling us. Moving themselves over towards Prowler Island and even beyond, following along in that path of Dark Zero and forcing Optic to take the southern route.
I like this. Gent on this high ground, constantly pressuring this one out. Even forces that dark veil, as you can clearly see there. It's going to grant Tripod hopefully their next move forward, whether it be back out through the village on north side or potentially following up right behind the likes of Optic themselves. I will say, though, they've got plenty of time, right? We were talking round one close with Prowler Island to the north, still well and applicable for a rotation.
Yeah, and in Zone 1, you can tank things up for quite a long time. I appreciate this move from Nick, just making sure that their sides are clear, Optic aren't coming back in, and it's a quick hit on the Replicator to continue moving forward in the game plan for Tripods. Replicator's so vastly important. What they won't expect, though, is that CCE seems to be rotating in negatively towards Millage, and this is going to catch a lot of teams off guard. It may very well catch Tripods now.
だからそう考えながらね、しっかり配信はしていこう。タイのなんかネメシスってさ、いやもうおほおほ言っちゃった。 ダウン取ってんだ。
That's the catching off guard that we talked about. Caught crafting shields, no way out. Jet's gonna get back up into Dark Veil, but he's got to pop a syringe now as Nick attempts to disengage. You need time as tripods. Time is something SCE are not keen on giving you. The drop onto Sauce, though, reverses the flow of events, and Hambino has to take high ground. CCE Uchinix fumbled the ball for a second, and tripods are right back in the game.
逆にチャンスだよ。
These are guys who go up against the best
取り切りたいにアンチ外だから多分
just as much as anyone
来ない
else
だ。しかも疎外も入った。
Got that med kit attuned, but he's also giving response on the other side. But those are syringes, and Jet's more than happy to find Shimmy, bring them down.
That's two members of CC Uchinix down. Hambino is headed for the hills, or more specifically, Prowler Island, as he makes his way out. But it is a big mistake that cost CC Uchinix a massive amount in the points, in the kills, in the tempo, and now in their impact towards the late game, as they have just a solo, not something that you want to see, especially during those zones 3 and 4. Now, the rest of the map on this side is pretty clear. And a trident to get tripods out to safety, and all the closer towards our next ring is a great move from them.
Still, though, it is delayed. A lot of their time spent holding out optic and then contested by CCE there will prevent them from having some of the best positions when we start to talk about that next zone here. It's something that currently in the River Center doesn't really push them back thus far, but once they start getting more over towards Lagoon, the Waterfall, or that Cascades, no name could hold them back.
ね、順位とか稼げ
Not
ち
a
ゃう
whole
から
lot
ね、
of
第
squads
4
going
円
to
ぐ
be
らいだと。
approaching from the south this time
まあ
around.
そういうちょっと耐
Many
久
teams
勝
have
ちとかがね、
elected to
特
move
に1位の
themselves
チーム
up
とか
through
ね、
Cascade
耐
Falls,
久とか
even
され
through
ちゃうともう
Command
競
Center
技
to
にならない。
try
多分
and
そういっ
get
た理由
a
で
power
ヒートシールド
position
の競技
over
し
by
大会
Stormcatcher.
等々には
So
カ
as
スタムには入れて
tripods
ないん
do
ですよ。
rotate in, they're going to be
さあ
mirrored by a few
100
squads,
チー
and
ムズ
you
が
have time to take
Crust
these fights, clear your
これどこの
back
チーム
as
だ
Crust does go down. 100 Thieves picking up
ど
that
こかわからな
initial
いがワ
knock.
ンダウン、ワン
Crust
各キ
should
ル
be
取りましたと。
difficult to recover, as reses are going to be few and far between during the course of these next couple minutes. Rise on the respawn beacon all the way out into the eastern side, and 100 Thieves have done more than enough,
ちょっと
farming
ね、
up their Evo shields and
元
picking up a
G2 とね、
kill.
元センチネルの人がね、
They'll take themselves back to Lagoon for now, set themselves up for height, wait this one out, see exactly where that next zone goes. But I mean, between the two of us, we know it pulls up towards that Stormcatcher area. The decision making and how this rotation will come through will be absolutely crucial when we discuss the future. Now,
起
granted,
こしたね。
seems like we've got some
う
respawns
わー、その
coming
チャラい。
through here.
一
Choke
体
on the
っす。
charge, but not quite the knock.
あー、死ぬね。
I think he might go down. Crust!
Wow.
No! He falls again. It was the
Ah!
instant respawn, but the finish hasn't happened. Oh, never mind. The finish happens. There we go.
あー、チャラいっ
Picks
てい
it out.
つもああいう時、
100
リロー
Thieves,
ド入
two
る
with。the price of one.
Well,
天才なんだと思う。
I mean, at this point, I talk
4
about
回分に
next
した人。
rotation. If you've already confirmed that they are
4回分にした人
guaranteed to be a duo
天才。
there, might be some
あれが
free
5回だった
KP
ら何人の
lying in
命が
wait.
失
We
われてる
will
か。
have to see how
あれ
SCS
起こせたんじゃない
try to hold this one off. Now, granted, not completely
あ、
alone.
上
Any
から
kind
ゼ
of
ロ。
fight that would potentially start up
キル
here
入ったの見て
does
遠
run
征
the
しに来
risk
たのか
of that third party, and even Zero's starting to extend
ね
himself.
ゼロ来てたよね。
This is quite a bit. Kubsky whipping out the Bloodhound
No,
today.
no.
Finds the fight alongside
No,
Noxious. Presley goes low, and Kubsky's got to be here to put up the
Yatte.
defense. Finds a knock
Wa-
onto
wa-
Vayne, but he gets taken down by two clean
Wow,
wingman
katta.
shots to the dome, and the clutch
Tsuyo.
up from Aiden is ludicrous.
ウィングマンエグ入ったんじゃない今。
As this man's wingman does not miss.
逆側の
Still a good chunk of
この
damage
人にして
there.
みたかっ
Vayne
たな。
back into it, but it doesn't come without the defense.
ヘッションボーン入ったんじゃないのかな。
Knocked out of this one here. You gotta hope the Moby is in play. Maybe even potentially crap that one up there. I know for a fact you try to play this out towards Stormcatcher, and there is no way you're pulling
NRG と
thirds.
ルミノ
Meanwhile,
シ
though,
が
Luminosity,
激
NRG,
突して
NRG looking to
NRG
be
ワン
at
ダウン
a
入っ
down
てんじゃ
zip.
ない？入ってるね。ヤンヤ
Last
が
match today
ネメ
was
シ
a
スで
big
スイート落
problem
とし
for
た。残り2人。
NRG. They need to make a recovery, and they need to make a recovery now. Yanya disengaging for the moment, wants to bring that fundamental Apex Legends back to the hands of Luminosity, what they were so well known for just last.
それはチャンスです。70。そう、今の70入るの。でも逆に最強パッド対決、ギルドとヤンヤのパッドネメシス対決はギルドが制し、2v2で回復終わってるぞ。ギルドが強い。ギルドが強すぎる。いやー、やっぱこういうとこパッドなんですよ。
Who is this man? Gilderson's saving NRG in a way that he has not done for the past couple match days. This is a massive turnaround for them and a big elimination to pick up as Luminosity are no more. Drop in gaming, don't get the third party, and everything has changed on a dime.
Here's the problem though, we are still well and far away from good placements. There might be the time to rotate out of this one, pull Sweet back into it, but just as I was discussing the glitch above them in Command Center, it does get easier, and they don't even have banner.
Still needing to make their way back to recover that. They got a team in front and a team behind. Good pressure out of Nathan to keep this squad running, and Gilderson's, if anyone, will have the best chance of recovering Sweet. Looks like that's exactly what they're going to go for here, pressuring up against Drop in Gaming, who absolutely know this is coming, and that's the call off. You do not want to press the 2v3.
Bit of a shame there. Meanwhile, Optics versus Tripods. We talk about delay of action. They still manage to meet up from behind. Deeds will finally find what he is owed. Drops found knocked behind the rock. A swing in from the Mercs man himself to find next knockdown.
Optic down to just one, and it's been such a troublesome series for them, being pushed out of their landing zone by Luminosity, who they have now outlived, but there's no placement points coming in just yet. There's no real victory here, just a Pyrrhic one. And so Optic have to hold on to this high ground, at least find themselves a point, or all of this struggle will have been for nothing. Zephyr. Tripods looking to make it that way, round the corner up top, taking down another one, and Noct goes 1v3 for the last time as he gets shut down.
A perfect wipe here from Tripods, set in stone from the very beginning. Hunters trailing their prey all the way from the west side, finally capitalized. I have to say, plethora of action has taken place though on our south side. 100 Thieves gone, SCS gone. The tracking through from Tripods here, capitalizing on potentially one more squad.
Dark Zero continuing to farm it up as well, but take a look at this. X-Set facing off with NRG sandwiched in between them and Drop in Gaming. We've got a rampart in the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is the legend that I was looking forward to seeing innovated in North America for this match day, and we've seen this before coming over from EMEA, but it's been so infrequent when we pop over into NA that I'm glad to see a team at the top pulling it up.
Tell you what, there we just barely see energy go out. It's actually defended by X-Set with those angles, but they might be able to pick this one up from the opposite side. Sykes potentially looking for access as well. This is huge though. We can see the zone currently. We know this kind of pull caters heavily towards where X-Set are currently positioned. If they can take out Drop in Gaming here, they would be the most dominant squad set for the end game.
A couple shots coming in from the north means that, of course, X-Set are going to have to take a step back, and it's a dangerous position for them. Running that rampart, they do look good when they're able to set up appropriately. However, they also run the risk of not being able to make those big plays with catalyst walls that can be so important in the end game. The nice thing is,
結構位置がきついな。張り付きかな次は。
The nice thing is that X-Set do have the ring coming over to them, and so at Drop in Gaming do need to press up here. X-Set gotta watch the back.
壁際とか張り付いたらシーラってボコボコにされる可能性あるから。
Glitch right alongside him. It doesn't get any easier, but I'll tell you, it's worse for teams from below. Dark Zero, moments ago, finding knocks onto Tripods, looking to finish up, but they lose access to this door. 1, 2, 3, 4, break it down. Maybe find some more, but nothing lies ahead of Gen Burton just yet.
Takes a lot of time to work your way through those catalyst reinforced doors. Tripods recuperating at the moment.
さあ GE が屋根上
holding
取っ
it
た。これソ
down
ロか
inside
2
this building.
人確
This
認
building, likely where this
ドロッピン
zone
グゲームが
is
張り付き
ending.
に
Anybody
成
who
功。
owns
ただ
this,
家
be it
中
Glitch
と上
Energy,
どっ
be
ち
it
もいるのはきつ
Xset,
いな。
have great
家中だ
shots
けだ
at
ったらなんと
finding
か
the
だった
win,
けど
but drop in. They found a great
そこ
position
に
themselves.
E8 のデザイ
These
ン
are
さん
two
が
spots that are
あれは
almost
遠く
simultaneously used, and
G
Xset can't
が
really step out anymore, especially now that Glitch of all teams has managed to close the distance and take this hideaway. I do think it is a little too early. Noticeably, you can already see the shots coming through from Stormcatcher, capitalizing on that position. But I'll tell you what, once this zone closes in, this will be absolutely incredible for them to play, even as a duo.
As Glitch, you really do need those
ダブル
sidelines
下
to
に
be
来
cut
た
off.
舞台
And
ラ
as
イズが来た
Dark
けどそれを全部
Zero,
潰したゼロ
you
がちょっ
are
とやばいね
farming right now. We talked about how
ゼロがちょ
verticality
っ
was
と
their
やばい
weakness, but having already found their way
自
up to the
ら
top
ま
of
あ
this
バン
first
ガ
zip line, they
ー
now
を使っ
get
て
to
るから
play
自ら戦
gatekeeper,
闘も
saving that catalyst wall for
こ
their
なしていこうと
rotation
いう
in the Bangalore smokes alongside it, and really taking their time and setting up for what is going to be a very difficult push, Zephyr, because as good as Dark Zero have done so far today, exiting Stormcatcher over into this western building is going to take down a lot of teams.
So many of our squads forced to either drop out of POI direct or compete into the face of the buildings that lie ahead. Notably, E8, the squad that currently has the best or closest rotation to the edge of the eastern side of that zone. Granted, Team Inters and Dark Zero well and will be available to potentially come up behind and usurp that spot, but it's going to be close.
Looking out for tripods on the low ground as well. One of the few teams that can rotate in from the north. CLG gonna try a different approach right now with a Valkyrie ultimate. A risky attempt here, but if it works, they're gonna be the last ones laughing. So let's see how it works out for CLG as they are dropping almost directly on top of GE, finally turning tail, heading for the tree, but they've got a team coming up behind them, a team in front. CLG have nowhere to go.
I can't believe they've even found a second of survivability here, right on the corner. CLG have threaded the needle of the Valk ultimate. Rolling Thunder coming down doesn't even do a lick of damage. And they're saying...
Can't say the same for Glitch Energy up top. They're being sent on by Team Inters. Jet capitalizing for now. As down on the low ground, it's Dark Zero versus E8. A catalyst wall separating these two teams. A sliver of barrel fluid, but Jen Burton's eats shots from CLG as the catalyst wall drops. Everyone is in the line of fire, and Dark Zero have to commit to the low ground to take on their nemesis. Knocked into the zone. Twice eliminating E8 and dying himself to the zone.
One more position up there at the hands of a man who claimed it before. It's still not quite enough though. 5 teams left in the lobby competing for this building. Drop in gaming now knowing that the back end is completely clear. Are more than happy to usurp this from CLG.
2 members down, still a solo around CLG.
移籍してね、なんかまあやや言われたこともあっただろうけども、実力でも全部黙らしたね。
To at least be proud of what they accomplished in game 1, but all the teams that remain, they hunger for more. Tripods as a duo on the low ground, them most of all.
ブッシュも稼げてヘイト買わない位置に来たけど、ただね、ちょっと中心が遠すぎるな。位置としてはチャンピオンに近いんだけど、建物に3チームいるからね。ただね、中心が遠いってのかな、遮蔽が1個でもあれば。そうだね、まあ頭の1個あるのはでかくて、ただ左端かないと。
The wide swing is so early as well to drop in, mitigating the risk of being third party. Despite can't go on too long though, the first knock onto Jet Stunny needs to stay up here. The stops does take a second, popping the shield back. It's all about finishing this fight as quickly as possible for drop-in gaming. They lose one, however, and now this move is more dangerous. Tripods go down. Quick res onto maybe enough because Xset and Glitch, they're not contesting this.
Bane doesn't have any heals. That is something that is evident to me at this point. Sitting on quite literally one. Okay, there we go. I was about to say, where did that come from? Where did that damage appear? Whatever it may be, it was apparently incredibly close for Glitch there before that moment. Still, a stacked situation for Xset and Glitch. If they take any damage between each other, Drop in
これは
just
強い
climbs up and cleans.
G がどこにどっちに飛ぶか、どっちに飛ぶかで変わる。真下降りたらエクセットとやり合うし、右に降りたらトライポッツの方行くだろうし。トライポッツやね。ドロップインゲーム。いやー、ドロップインゲームの方行った。これはエクセットのコースです。これはもうエクセット後々取り切るだけ。なんでそんな当たんの？ノクさん？丸スコだったじゃん。なんでノクさん今当たるの
？It was so close
いや、エクセット強すぎ。い
や、
ランパートの立て方がうまかったね。家の中こもると多分普通に G とやり合ってたけど、どんどん車線をね奥へ奥へ円の中心に広げたことによって G がエクセットの方には降りれないっていう判断でしたね。
It's a battle of intimidation, and like you say, it's glitch that ultimately determined the winner. Let's bring Tiff back.
さあ、ポイント見ていきましょう。あ、じゃあこのポイントじゃない。このポイントじゃない。あ、LJ さん。
WD Black。
これかな。
They were your top。
あ、ただエクセットキルポはそんなに入ってないからドロップインゲーミングと GE がおのおの15ポイントだから、あ、全然接戦だ。ダークゼロなんか12キルしてるから、あ、もう15ポイント4チームで上位5チームの接戦ですね。まだまだ分かりません。さあ、初動かぶりはどうですか？オプティックとルミノシティはどんな感じですか？まだやりますか？
That's the tough part, right? Apex and consistency. That's the hard part, right? We were talking on the EMEA broadcast, 5 to 8 points on maybe even one of your worst games to keep you in the running, but that's after you drop maybe like a 26-point victory, and it's really hard to drop a 26-point game when you have 4 teams sitting with 15 points and Dark Zero going down outside the top 5 with 12 eliminations. But as we look to our teams dropping in, the one notable change here is that Luminosity will not be landing Downed Beast on Optic, and I think it was something along the lines of they were just trying to maybe chow Optic, since Optic, you know, on World's Edge, they kind of duke it out down the southeastern side of the map. But maybe Luminosity was looking for a change and wanted a Downed Beast POI Zephyr.
ね、新キャラのトレーラー、クソかっけえおじさんいいよ。クソかっけえワンピースに出てきそうなイケオジだったね。防衛系というか、なんかガスの上位互換みたいな噂だけ聞いたけど、どんな感じでしょうか。最近防衛系多い。
AJC, due to their split drop on North Pad, Optic now not having any of that pressure. I think they wiped one.
リザさん、ツイッターも毎回リツイートありがとうございます。配信ツイート、リツイートしていただいて。
very much separate, but check out where that zone is pulling towards the intersection of Barometer, and there's a plethora of choke points that it could kind of pull towards, and if we get an open water zone, it's going to be absolutely disgusting, and that's not really what you want to see. But teams like Oxygen, Tripods over there in Cenote that have a drop prio to this, they don't have a far rotation, so getting into zone and kind of nestling up in there quickly is not going to be bad. You look at 100 Thieves, they have a ring console available to them over there. I think.
ちょっとごめんね。これはなんか何かおかしい事件が起きてる。あ、そうだよね。インパルス。そうだよ、ルミノッシーもともとダウンズビースト行って外して、ここに今日インパルスさんのチームはどこ行ったんですか？インパルスさんはあ、高知に行った。なんで？なんでこれはすぐ分かったの？なんで速攻でこっち降りようってなったの？あれかな、チャットで言ったんかな。カスタムのね、チャットで多分ランドマークの宣言とかあるらしいから、こういう大会だと。多分ルミノシティが養殖場俺ら行くわって言って、インパルスさんのチームどこだ？
Maybe Luminosity was looking for a change and wanted a down beast POI Zephyr.
が
Hey,
参戦し
it's
た
not
っつ
a
って
bad place to start
俺ら
off
よ
if you
避け
like
て
it,
ど
but
うぞどうぞ
I
み
gotta
たい
hand
な
it to Fish
感
Farms
じにな
and
っ
the
た
Mirage
感
Twice.
じだ
One of
ね
the best POIs to take advantage of,
結果
even though it does lay
結果
itself
落ち
a
着
bit
く
further out of that zone. I do want to
結果イ
point
ン
out
パ
that
ル
I
スさん
think
のチームが
already
損をして
started
落
to
ち
see
着く
some action here. You caught it just a little
何
bit
だったん
on
だ
our
ろう
map. AJC, due to their split drop on North Pad, Optic now
結
not
果
having
先
any
頭と
of
いう
that
か
pressure.
なんか
I
実
think
力
they
が
wiped one.
もう認知されてるチームはさ
Oh, I feel like teams when they
避けて
do
もらえ
land
る
North
の
Pad, they
がもう
land
強いよ
very, very much separate. But
TSM
check
とか
out where
ここ
that
行きますよ
zone is
みんな
pulling
避ける
towards
も
the
ん
intersection of Barometer, and
そう
there's a
本当に日
plethora of
本の
choke points
ノー
that
セ
it
クショ
can
ン
kind of
初動
pull
かぶせ
towards.
して
And
たのマ
if
ジで
we
かっこ
get
よ
an
すぎるでし
open
ょ
water zone, it's going to be absolutely disgusting, and that's not really
30は
what
こ
you
れ
want to
は
see.
バ
But
ロ
teams like
うん
Oxygen,
バロまでは寄り切ら
Tripods
ず
over there in Cenote that have a drop prio to this, they don't have a far
バロメーターの
rotation,
北側
so
の
getting into zone and kind
アサ
of
ルトボックス
nestling
があ
up
る
in
ね
there
家と
quickly
か
is
の
not going to
付
be
近なん
bad.
じ
You
ゃな
look
い
to
かな
100 Thieves, they have a ring console available to
ジュラパ
them
側の
over
ね
there. I think CLG and Stormcatcher has one as well. So it's trying to make sure that you can get prio to that because there's not a lot of buildings. But the action you were talking about with
Wow.
Optic Gaming already kind of continuously. It's a drawn
あ
out
いや
fight.
ダークゼロ早
Maybe
い
they
な
were
マ
looking
ジ
to
で
recover the banner, but Optic's not going to let them have it.
車使
From
っ
a
てんのか
distance here, as you can already hear and tell.
ダ
The
ークゼロ
Nemesis
マジで早い
absolutely beaming across. Drop gonna be the one that potentially pulls up here to clean things
ちょっと
across. No
アンチムー
seer,
ブ傾向
but
になっ
definitely understands the
まあ
path
元々 NA は
taken
そうだ
that
けど
B. Still tracking
で
this
もオ
one
プティッ
out
クとか
from
外
below.
ムーブ
Look
の
at.
構成してるしな
Oh, he hears it.
あうわあ
Oh
Ah!
no, bro! But dropped gets the drop like the less
Maji.
amount of hits. I was not
あの
expecting that. You
感じ
could hear
で
the PK
プラウラー
just
勝
kind
っ
of
ちゃうんだ
charging up like it was about to
ショ
push
ット
through.
ガンよりも
El Karma still down and Boat just
す
kind
げえ
of
なプラウラー
disengaging from the situation. They
普通あ
did
れシ
have
ョッ
that
トガン有
respawn
利の
beacon
間合いと
available
いうか
to
射程
them
では
here, but I feel as if I'm on the AJC. I want to hightail it out. This is not where I want to be. Maybe you can disengage, hit a Valcolt, and reposition yourself a little bit safely away from Optic. Yeah, this is disgusting. Optic totally has the firm advantage here. They just have to cover the
ダーク
distance.
ゼロ
Pop
が
a couple shots and Skittle Cakes is like,
チャーライ
no,
で
man, I'm grabbing the trident. I want
オ
this.
キシーを
You say cover the
Oh, sure.
distance. He pulls up in the whip pretty quick
Ah, mo
to make
Skittle
it
Cakes mo yaru
happen.
気
Not
満々
quite in finding his way towards Boat just yet, but definitely
絶対に
trying
絶
to
対にやってや
snip
るという
this one
強い意志
out.
が伺える
Optic now knowing that they have the damage advantage.
さあゴート
Still
選手
trying
は
to see where
あバ
exactly
ルジャン
Goat presents
あ
us
こ
up.
れ
There
間に
you
合うん
go.
じゃない
Finally, that redeploy. We'll see if they can train
いやいや
their
いっ
eyes
たいや
upon
黒
the
黒っ
skies.
てマジで
Bring him down.
All right, so that's
こんなん
a 1-0 Valcolt
ランクだ
gone
と
south here in
逃げれ
map
るよ
number 2.
今
I'm
だ
going
った
to
ら
keep count on how many
ひどいよ
Valks
今
get
の
eliminated before they get to the top. That was one of the things that a lot of players have been talking about. It's usually it's the charge rifle plus the Valcolt equals Doom, but you know, Nemesis and the accuracy, chef's kiss.
Oh, still
So
just as good,
Optic
then,
は
albeit without just strictly the
なん
iron
なら
sights. Impressive still
なんなら
in its
元々
own right. But I'll be
今
keeping
のチーム
count
がいた
just as likely
このランドマー
with
ク
you
で
viewers. Some of these
レ
teams
プリ
will
ケーターも
definitely
でき
be
るという
forced
こ
to
と
be
ですね
looking for those Valk
まあ
rotates.
元々そうか
It's
レプ
not
リケー
a
ター
pretty zone that presents itself.
レプリケーターの
Heavy
ムーブを
mags
する
in
か
the
らこっち来よ
crafter,
うとし
not
たんだよ
bad
ねそこで
at
ぶつか
all.
った感じ
My
か
favorite day is when Digis are in the crafter, Zephyr. I'm that kind of person.
I was about to say, you are that kind of person. You're
いやヘビ
terrifying
ー
and
マガジンだからパッ
something
ドは
that
強いぞ
usually
プラ
garners
ウラ
the
使うか
success.
ら
And I'd love to see if the bang does come out in higher proximity when it's specifically
さあ
one of
X
those
セッ
days.
ト
If
と
it did, that'd be very interesting.
インパル
I
ス
mean, not
We
crazy.
definitely
コーチ
100% does. We've had a lot of bang bloods in
だ
the
イン
lobby,
パルス
just
た
off
だアー
map
マー
number
強い
1
ねいい
as
ね
well. But you can see Xset on the left hand of your screen, kind of in chase here towards Jurassic Park. They have a team just in front of them, and
さあ
a
現状
fun
実
FPS
質
with
1
the
X
triple
セット
take. You know, honestly, when it hits,
I
definitely.
was like, get her done. All right. It don't matter what kind of distance you provide with what, as long as you're finding the damage. I've got no bars to say there. Even though the triple
無駄に使用率高いからね
a
ネメシスを
little
みん
bit
な持ちたいが
lower
ために
in comparison to some favorites, quite literally at the bottom. You know, it is what it is.
トラックフリーかトラックフリーが
Now
避け
you
た
say
んだ
that, I
ね
was
コ
looking
ー
at
チ
some stats
ああんま強
earlier
いからよ
today,
か
and
っ
the
た
alternator usage in EMEA was actually lower damage done in the EMEA split 2 than like a thermite or a frag grenade.
Oh no, I get it. I get it. And the same can be said in North America as well. Even funnier, more so, the frag's doing more damage than the
フリーはさっ
RE45 in
きのエ
North
クセットの
America.
車線というか詰めに気をつけつつ
It's crazy.
I'm
It has
also
to be
like,
surely because it's in a care package. Because at that point, like everyone, I remember the days when the RE45 was on the ground, and you would pick up the RE45
CC
immediately and tell someone like a Mozambique, and you're like, "This is the best thing."
正面は
Like this is.
トライポッツ
We'll see if anyone gets their hands on it sometime later this match. We tune in down towards our south side. Tripods this time around not forced to make any extended long-winded rotation, but they're still trying to play around the slow game here, especially after finding their way into fifth last time around.
Last time we saw an update on the ring, we knew it was pulling closer to Barometer. I feel as if a lot of our teams are assuming that it's going to pull not necessarily towards the tower, but are looking for playable space in and around the buildings just northeast. And that's tough, right? There's like maybe 2 or 3 buildings there, and you have to nestle yourself in there and fight for it through the entirety. And if you're an edge fighting team, you are looking to clean up shop around that. And there's typically a couple rock formations, and Luminosity has already set their sights into Antenna. Curious to see what teams will be pushing out of there, but Jaguares is looking for just a couple poke damage, spotting a team that's crafting here on edge, and maybe they want to eliminate and get their hands at some crafting, but they seem pretty well kitted up and they are comfortable to take a fight.
I'll tell you what, even though there is this kind of pressure here presented from Luminosity, we talk about so much of both Jurassic Park and Antenna left into play here for that appropriate rotation. I myself, not a big fan of seeing things come through from Jurassic, but especially with this kind of zone where you've already highlighted the lack of buildings, the lack of play available. You're almost forced to.
I like this from Neozil. He was able to push out into the ring just a little bit towards the western side of Gale Station, grab the map room scan, and have immediately decided to rotate through the backside of Barometer. So they are looking to find potentially a free space towards the next zone and at least have a picture of where the teams are starting to position themselves. Albeit, it will be a little outdated by the time they make their way over, but still good information is to be had. So you look towards the outside optic, making their way in through checkpoint, and 100 Vs and drop-in gaming. They could get into a little bit of scuffle out there towards Cascades. You have the map room scan, a ring console available to them as well. And Crook making the name for themselves there on that, and formerly had played on Atlanta Premier, then Oxygen, and now dropping it over there.
Now, obviously, we did just see Furia go for the deep dive here into Barometer Direct, taking advantage of that redeploy, happily finding themselves in space. They don't know the fact that this is as clean as it gets, but could be showing right up against Luminosity potentially just a moment. They themselves holding, I believe, that Spire high ground. The map clearly stating, though, that when we talk about dominant, good positions, Energy are dead set and center on that bridge. It isn't easy to defend, but if this zone caters the way we think it will, it can be an excellent spot, albeit tough.
1.5 メモリのとこで負けば間
Like
に合う
that is going to be one of the toughest places to hold because you have to think about all the late game Valk rotations that could potentially come in.
意外とそういう練習はねできないからね
land on
カジュアルとか言っちゃない
a
とできな
position
い
in
か
the
ら
map, you
あんまりね
try to
意
land
識しない
on
と分
top
かん
of
な
a
いんだけど
bridge or nestle yourself and immediately chow that fight, or you look for whatever top of building you can find in that perimeter. But Tripod's still looking to make their way into
さあ
that
アン
next
チ
zone.
ガイ
They'll be
ムーブ
rotating
はいない
straight
で
into
すね
CCE, and then
NA とかだとねまだこ
even
の状態
nearing
でモンセッ
Tripods
ト
here,
かアンチ
swinging
がい
the
るけども
heavy outskirts.
ドロ
They
ドロ
will
ドロッ
need
プイン
to
ゲーミン
fight
グオ
their
プティ
way
ック
forward,
ス
and that
ト
could
ライ
get
ポッツがまあ
really
外から
tough.
入っていく
Things
そうで
have
それ以外アンチ
definitely
ムーブ
slowed
だ
to
か
a
ら
bit more of a lull here
ワ
as
ンチ
teams
ナ
have
カムーブ
definitely
めちゃめちゃ
been
多いね
forced to retain a much less decisive space
NRG が
and have had to
橋の
slow
下を
that
取
roll
ってるか
because,
な
I mean, at the end of the day, they don't have the time currently to push
ダーク
into
ゼ
that
ロ
next
は
zone. Someone like Xset or
最終
potentially
の方
100
には
Thieves
行かず
trying to attempt to find
橋を見なが
positions
らって感じだね
right now would most assuredly end in disaster. Still though, I believe almost everybody just outside of Optic finally about to find their way in. Tripods potentially on the gatekeep out here towards the west. Curious to see if we get some deja vu after our first game.
よいしょ
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Xset, I'm looking at Storm Point, some of their stats. Average points per game, 10.67. the best out of the entire lobby, keeping to that tradition with that game 1 victory, and they're averaging almost 5 eliminations per game, just under. So with that 3, a little shy of what they're typically used to. As we get the beautiful free cam shot falling in behind drop in gaming as they begin kind of this outward rotations riding the edge of zone, looking for potentially their next mover. Maybe to chow a fight towards the outside, but at this point with the ring kind of closing in, it's going to be rather tough to find an isolated 3v3 engagement that another team isn't going to want to 3p immediately.
No, there's absolutely zero isolated 3v3s from this point onwards. It is guaranteed cleanup crews left and right here, certifications in the janitor of schooling. So you can see even drop in gaming, even as they target Optic, are being shot out across from Jurassic Park. That's how close every single LOS is contested.
No, it's just kind of like watching, waiting to see what our teams are going to make a move in. But drop in gaming, 27th place overall coming into this. They get a large portion of their points from placement as 56%.
タイだからこのままいけばね上位5チーム以内に入れるということで固くいきたいよね。左上 X セットだったね。いや左に X セット右にオプティック怖すぎ。もう赤までそうオプティックは。
I feel as if they could have just found a way into that zone and maybe not gotten as griefed per se. They constantly were just running into one team after another. Now with 4 points sitting in 10th place after map number 1, this is their chance to make a statement. Now granted, I mean they're at the top of the leaderboard, they're doing great, but I just want to see them continue that momentum forward.
結構前の週から構成変わったチーム多いのかな。さあ CC とトライポッツが当たりそう。
Tripods already finding their assault against CCE, similar to last time around. A rolling thunder drop down doesn't allow for much of rotation. Trying to find maybe a way back up to his team.
They need to pay a little more mind of like
fighting inside the zone.
Specifically what off happened in map number 1, that initial knock from a mistimed med kit really put a damper into that situation, but the thermite is going to connect. You can see the team is giving a little bit of the edge to want to push into that, but Shinny is out of the fight, so you have to think, you calm that, right?
トライポッツは周りに囲まれてしまって非常に不利。うわうまいナイスナイス。
Nick is gonna go down.
And all but that, it comes to an end here. A blinking you'll miss it moment. So much of CCE low from that excursion. But like we said, it's third-party central today. Little time for health to be retained here. And being the last one to stick that medkit, but so much of this height now taken over by DZ.
No, they want to get on the aggression. 12 elims alone from map number 1, so they're looking for Zero absolutely one clipped by Hambino. A great opening. Now Rambo and Jen Burton are going to have to clutch this up. New to the team. This is beautiful. He's already able to grab onto Hambino. 2v2. Rambo out. Is going to have to CCE eliminated. Dark Zero is finding a solid form now that they have Rambo on crew.
It's a happy dappy 3KP, but it's nothing that guarantees this movement away from the bridge. A single dark veil cater them towards that barometer area, but I guarantee 30 seconds to go, and they didn't even make it the full distance. Optic has eyes trained, waiting to capitalize. I mean, it couldn't get much worse than this on Storm Point.
You think of water like zones, this is not what you need. At that point, you have no cover. Rambo has no movement as a seer. He is just going to be jumping around in circles right in front of Skittle Cakes. That is just trying to be like, hey, please don't hit me. No, unfortunately going to lose out on them. There's no way that Jen Burton's going to be able to grab that banner because Optic's not going to let it happen. And just like that, Yanya puts the finishing touch into Dark Zero as they are eliminated. So now our eyes turn to Optic as they were essentially cleanup crew, but not before we have an all-out brawl breaking out. CLG. I know we've got a lot of CLG fans in chat, and Retzi just trying to hold it together for Rise, and they're taking a lot of damage already, Zephyr.
Damage down, one player as well, but an elimination on CLG, but most of it's secured by drop-in gaming. Coming from the west and straight from Jurassic Park. Happy to take this one. In the meanwhile, even though they've got the numbers advantage.
Stomps looking for a smoke. Using his last one, he's not going to get another smoke for 24 seconds, so needs to play it rather safely. Only going to have that thirst and rise eliminated just like that. It's Team Inter making a showing as well. They're grabbing a knock on the 2 members of the rest. They cleaned up Rise, and now they have the ultimate high ground, Zephyr. This is not where you want to be.
It may not be where you want to be, but it's simply a place that, well, Drop in Gaming do find minor success. A single knock there, but quickly capitalize on a good swing. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves, we find the remnants of their fight on north side here, taking out Drug Free before they ever get the chance to rotate in. But obviously, similarly to what we just saw from the Inters, one of the furthest squads from playing into the next zone. The only team who currently hosts a spot in our next zone, they got a none other than NRG.
NRG has been playing dead center of zone so well here in map number 2. Luminosity and Fury going at his Watson completely full health, and Jaguar is really the only fighting chance for Luminosity playing around this truck. Panders and his Watson are not going to let him live. Ordinances are going out of the hands of Panders, and they're going to connect to Flesh, so that's going to give them all the information they need. Then he pushes in and completely fries, but not before his Watson and Tor are able to finish it out. But look who's on the horizon, Zephyr. It's Optic.
It doesn't even matter. Just look at the zone. It'll do most of the work for you here. Even as they arrive in the face of Optic Gaming, they've got nothing but only 25 damage to claim upon drop. Now, the sole providing team to enter in from the south side here. Talk about an extended move from Optic to make it across. Put a Kraber in Skill Cake's hand. See how that gets.
Hey, incoming Zero. Let's jump into a quick listen in with Optic Gaming so we can hear every bit of their engagement presented by WD Black, and I am cursing everything has dropped his last alive.
Stuck outside the zone here, gonna try to play around the knockdown shields, but it's not even the fight ahead of Glitch that does him in. It's sweet.
G が倒して NRG が外から射線をチャーライ通してた。
It's the charge rifle, man. It is the charge rifle, and I'm not even mad at Sweet for utilizing it, bro. You have been sitting in zone. What other way are you gonna try to farm some KP? Next up on Moo, Scurry and Vax on both dead, and they have a little bit of a rock to try and get a reset on, but unfortunately not going to be able to stick the res on Moo. A sliver of health and not going to be able to withstand the charge rifle.
ワットソンがどっか
A
にいる
shame
な。
in the end there, but better than last time around.
NRG ど真ん中取ってんだ。
Yes.
それは
Now our
強い
top
ね。
5 down to 4 here. An absolutely
クレーバー入った
nasty
な。
zone to
クレーバー入っ
discuss.
たね 今。
Almost the entire lobby decimated in the
ただこの後いる NRG は全員の真ん中にいることによって全車線通るから多分きつくなるぞこの後。3方向から
Look,
真ん
you
中
have
に
got
敵
to
が
work
突っ込ん
with
でくるから。
whatever you can possibly grab, and as soon as Sweet saw this zone, he probably, you know, moved from the bridge like, we need to play Bamboo. We need this. As soon as we get this, we play it smart, we win. The issue is every single team is going to be looking at them so long as they can withstand any damage. But GE able to grab the Kraber from Skittle Cakes' box. Has 8 bullets available. Missing there, missing again. It's totally fine. These are just warning shots. They're going to start connecting here shortly.
Hey, the threat is an imminent sound there. Still though, only a few left to claim.
下手とかじゃないからね。これは。ほらうまいだろ。決勝だ。わお。ただ今決勝だと赤シールドだとワンパンでは倒せません。さあすごいことになってる。すごいことになってる。NRG は SCS 側を完全に取り切り、ただそこに対して漁夫チームインターと漁夫ただそうする NRG は削れでもスイートが死んでるね。終わった。やっぱり周りの初戦がきつすぎた。うわもうなんか全チームが潰し合ったね。
Of map number 2.
Enters defending themselves from north,
あんまり
coming
多
out
分いいアンチではなか
Jurassic
っただろ
Park,
うね。
taking out the likes of Rise and Drop in Gaming. Slow their roll, wait.
Get Witness taking space in.
さあチームインターズ9キル素晴らしい。G が5キル、NRG6 キル、SCS。そんな差開いてないんじゃない？多分。G がちょっと抜けたかな。 G がちょっと抜けて、あ、でもチームインターズでもあれか。さっきいい調子だったのか。まあ、そうでもねえな。今回のポイントばっかりだ。で、ダークゼロも安定して稼いでって感じで、まあまあ、まだまだわからないね。じゃあ、第3試合行ってみましょう。いやちょっと待ってって、おかしいって。おかしいことになってるって。今度オプティックが養殖所来たって、これ何？やっぱオプティックはルミノシティをぶっ潰したいんじゃない？多分。ダウンズビスト空いてんだもん。なんなら最初アンチこっちだよ。こっちよりよ、多分。やば。何し、いや多分本当にあれなんだろうな。ルミノシティってそんなにギリな。わあ、でも確かギリだな。うわ、19、あ、でも C か。C の中で上から3つ。だから結構当落線上だね。調子良ければそのまま世界大会行けるし、調子悪かったら下に行くっていう感じか。で、多分世界大会行った時のランドマークが被りそうだから、1試合目オプティックと LG がここで当たって、2試合目はオプティックは取れたんだけれども LG が養殖場来た。でドロップインゲーミングがコーチあさりになった。でこれで別にこれで平和解決したのに、なぜか3試合目オプティックがわざわざダウビを開けて LG に寄せてきたと。マジで意味わからん。ダウンズビスト空いてるって。何してん。アンチも寄ってるし。マジでオプティックすげえな。熾烈だね。もうだから怖いもんなしだ。
They'll get to run it back this time around. E8 very much splitting up for a second and coming right back around. What's catching your eye, Zephyr?
Bottom right.
Yeah. I was wondering what that was about. Luminosity, they're just trying something. I don't know why they're trying it, but they're going everywhere.
Now Optic's trying it too. There's got to be some beef behind the scenes here, okay? Because there's no way you go, we're just gonna give up down beast. If you're Optic, you're especially feeling it now with that zone.
Yeah, we need to put Tip on tweet duty so we can find whatever happened between these two to change the course of the lobby so drastically. Because both these teams, not even known particularly for early fighting, though it was Optic just last year.
まだ未来のあるチームだから。オプティックもほぼ格入ってるからね、世界大会ね。もうどうにもできるからね。
It isn't something that changes often for Optic, and it's something that hopefully once it all comes to its climax on these next rotations, we actually get to see in full fruition. But granted, I could easily just as quickly see this as just a subtle rotation out from that POI, and both kind of being punished now on edge, granted at the RNG of our current zone.
Yeah, it is something that we'll keep track of. Maybe Optic gets sent into another situation where they run around the whole map, eventually to be charge rifled in the back by tripods. It's always a possibility, especially since we haven't seen either of the teams fall just yet. But Oxygen
は途中でどっかでぶつかるケースが多いね。ダークゼロに事故のように潰されてたもんね。本当はアンチ中ムーブをねしたいんだけれども、ダークゼロも結構早めにアンチ来てるからかぶっちゃってるんだね、移動がね。
Weren't listening, you had to have caught it the first time.
I think you should explain.
I like these three buildings, and they've got a lovely bun and glizzy in the middle there, and I like to call them that as a result. It's a deformed hot dog, as Dio likes to claim it, but it makes me happy.
NRG もアンチ中ムーブ、ストッポだと外ムーブが多いんだけれども、だいぶアンチ中ムーブのチーム増えたね。NRG とかダークゼロとか、ストッポだと外っぽい動きしてるチームもどんどん中入ってきてる。
Are playing towards the bunkers, and at the moment, just eating some shots in the back. It's a pretty easy easy time for them, despite the fact they're missing a few resources here and there. It's going to be calculated into how they wanted to rotate this already. The question is really for me where they want to end up, because Dark Zero can try and play deep zone, but I'd almost rather see them play edge.
At this point, you don't have a choice. There's no way you
さあ、
are
大きいシージェ
rotating
ン
out
も
of this
本
one
当は多
here, so I
分ダーク
want
ゼロ
them
い
to
たとこ取り
start
たかっ
to
たんだろう
set
ね。
up. But I'll tell you what,
さあ、
seeing
ダ
this
ートレー
particular
ズ
zone,
で
these positions,
100
it really makes
シー
me
ブスは
miss
通路を
one
取
thing.
るか
The
な。
Watson. We had so much of it this morning on Storm Point, and this time around, especially in a position like this, you could really need it to defend, say, one of these bunkers.
Dark Zero really missing their Bangalore ult as well.
Zero
Zero
は
just
目でね、
used it to
煙
clear
で車線を切れ
oxygen
ば
out from in front of them,
戻れ
just
るから
making sure
できるだ
to
け自分た
disengage.
ちの
And
エリアに
now
ダークゼロはそ
that's
の
all gone. A quick
部屋
ult
の
excel
中
to
だ
try
けだ
and
と
get it
心
back,
も
but
とな
had
い
they
から
been
できる
pushed
だ
there,
け
they
広く
did
したい
not
ね。
have the defensive
あ、なんか死んだ
capability.
な。
NRG perhaps missing them as well, since they've just lost
これ
a
もあれか
member.
ジャンプで飛んできた
has gone down,
インターズの
hasn't
ジェ
been
ット
full
を
thirsted
倒したの
yet,
か
but
な。
our Inter's gonna push for this.
I don't think they pushed. They've obviously lost out on one, and that Dark
さあ、
Veil
こ
is
っち側は辛い
absolutely
ね。
perfect.
他の車
Meanwhile,
線も
I'm
エク
all
セ
but
ットもい
sure
るし。
we hear the
いや、
threat
すごい通路
of
そんな
our
取れる
minigun
か。
across somewhere there.
あ、E8 の
Except
ザッ
taking
クが
advantage of the
出張
Dark
来てる。
Veil
それ大丈
provided
夫？
by energy for now, but it's getting chaotic. I
お、めっ
can't
ちゃ戻
believe
った。
so
アッシュだ
many of
な。
our teams are investing in the trench lines rather than any of our major structures that exist outwardly.
そん
I'm
な通
asking
路
myself
取る
the
んだ。
question, and I guess by extension, I'm asking you, who on earth is in North Pad right now? Because they
入
have
る
been
とこねえ
causing
もんな。
so many teams so many problems, constantly sniping it out. They haven't moved it yet, but they are surely having an effect on the lobby. Flinzar almost going down right there. Could actually fall, but Icy's going to cover him for just a moment with a little bit more amp cover.
It's a nice source of control, and you get to see how well that
いや、ただ
rampart
NRG としては
provides angles where
後
they
々邪魔にな
counter,
るから
but
ね。
NRG
できるだけ
are thick
潰しておき
with
たいよ
it.
ね。
They are tried
キル
and
ポも稼ぎ
true.
たいし。
Bunkers alone. Meanwhile, from the other side, it's clear that Inters are taking their own source of damage. I love this angle, though. Choking this one out. Finally finding that knock.
NRG know they have power there.
LG とぶ
Extending
つか、あ、オプティッ
ordinances,
ク
even now the Dark Veil.
LG とぶつかりましたね。LG 怒りの
themselves, but
初
Hunter
動
Thieves start
ファイト
pushing
倒
up
しま
on
した。
this at the same time. They take out Guild, Nathan,
ただ
and we
100T が
know that it's just Sweet left to
ライズを
carry
潰
the
した。
NRG better.
And it's such
NRG
a
も潰
shame
した。
too. The minute those depth boxes come down on the opposite side, a massive
取り合いだ。
separation occurs. And granted, it's loot. It's
ダー
the
クゼロは出
rewards
張
that you
に
have
来て
garnered
100T とか
yourself,
玉
but
行
it
こう
is
と思
an
ったけども
immediate
無理と判
mistake
断して
that 100
自分
Thieves
たちのところに
are
戻
able
ってい
to
った
pick up
と。
on there. We get a very short
次なこういう時3人で行くんだね、ダークゼロは
hunkering down on
ね
a。single boulder, praying for his life.
ポジションを一
Similar
旦
to what we saw of NRG
捨て
last
ても
time
いい
around
っ
in
て感
game
じなのか
one.
な。
It
来ないっ
happens,
ていう
and
判断してるの
unfortunately
か
for
な。近
NRG,
くいた
it's
ね
been
今。
happening a little bit more often than they'd like. Dark Zero came out for a piece of the pie,
スイートが一人で残ってたね。
found themselves nothing, and having walked back now, know that there's a Wraith portal right above them, so are going to continue playing defensively. Perhaps not what they'd expected to be doing at this point in the game, where they don't have a position that's really easily encroached upon. Perhaps something could be a bit more active. Rambo finally starting to make it so with the charge rifle, trading back onto the squad by North Pad.
Likely, just to answer your question from earlier before our action, AJC, who tends to land there at the very get-go of the game, and likely will be happy with that current position.
スイートはハイ
Already
ド。
starting to take angles of their own. We saw how this fared for NRG
E8
last
は
time around, so hopefully
出張に来たけども、もう先頭を置きなさそうということで。
But we're down to 15 full
いや、広く取りすぎダークゼロ。
At this point, we definitely are
やばすぎだろ、
beginning to
ダー
see
ク
the
ゼロ。
game slow its roll here.
Sweet's been doing a lot for NRG. As much as he can do
バルト来たら
now,
終わりだ
I
よ。
mean, we'll see. It remains to be determined for this game, but
すげえ。
he'll at least get the chance to pad his stats, contributing 42% of team damage per game. Sweet goes off for NRG. It is not an equal relationship. We'll see how much he can do and how much more percentage he's able to get, as he will be the only one for the remainder of this game actually able to do anything. 100 Thieves, for the moment, retain the position previously held by NRG.
ハンドレ
and
ッド
it's
シ
a
ーブスって言
powerful
って
one.
たね、海外だと
Yeah,
ね。
and I'd be curious to hear exactly how they might
ハンドレッ
convert
ド
this
シーブス
to
だと思ったけ
potential
ど。
end game win. Let's take a listen in
今
and see
聞
where
いて
they
る
may
感じ、
go.
ハンドレッドシーブスって呼んでるね、海外のキャスターの方は。
Take some
ま
space
あ
up here.
継承、
And
や
so just sit
略
inside.
称というか相
It's
性
tough
み
because
た
you
い
can
な
get shot in the back
感じ
easily.
で。
There's a rampart set up a charge rifle up there, so careful.
E8 も やば構成。ローバーシ
I'm
ュ
all for taking space, but not on this spot.
ランパートだって
There's just gonna be like it's
もうア
gonna
ン
be
チナイムーブして
This team doesn't have this team does
漁
not have
夫
this
を
here.
アッシュで行くみたいな感じか。
You sure?
Yes, because
やばいねあの構成。
Ash,
Okay.
Lobud, Rampart.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
アッシュローバーランパート。
I
も
don't
う
know if that's
完全に
that
バレ
team,
たね。
though. It is.
They
Yeah,
literally
there's
just
no
popped the
doubt.
ramp.
So you think they're a duo? No, they're 3-man
No,
up still.
they're 3-man. I'm just saying they don't have no seer.
3メンズって言ったね。3人いるぞと。
Right, discipline on this game, boys. We're holding the spot. Don't get caught off guard.
Yeah.
この100シーブスの3人もだいぶ長いことメンバー変えずにやってんじゃなかったっけな。
Reinforce doors, surrounding them and locking them to enemy
日本
space
の
where doors have been destroyed can also be reinforced
昔の
next to.
なんだっけな。ガンオトのね、頑張れお父さんの前身
That
と
was
か
our
もずっと
listening
3
with
人で
100
やって
Thieves
たけど。
presented by WD Black. And they, well, as we've already seen, don't have a whole lot to do. The world is their oyster and what they determine. However, Furia, they got work. As CC Uchinix are right on top of them. And maybe not for long, as Shini's been full thirsted. And Furia are large and in charge in checkpoint.
See if they can keep capitalizing on that
破
fight
壊
there
力
as
世界
others
ナンバーワン
take
だったん
place
だけど、
across
まあ
the
フューリア
map.
メンバーがね
Tripods
だいぶ
here
変わっちゃった関
trying to
係で
take down what that may be. Remember, it's Luminosity who are already on a hot streak this game,
ちょっと調子
wiping
落としてる
out
かな。
the remnants of
Luminosity
Optic
は
from that long
オプティ
extended
ックを
rotation
ここ
we
にし
talked
て
about at the
悠々
very,
と
very
アンチに
get-go.
入っていきたい。
Zone
た
though,
だ目の前に
finally
また
closing in,
ストレス
potentially
の
just waiting out
スト
this
レスの
exhibit
当て
to
つ
see
けが
where
当
they
てつ
can
け
move.
先が存在するので、
See
ルミノ
what
シティは
this
全部潰しに行くと考
bodes
えられ
for
ます
Luminosity. We've already seen some cereals land over by Mill. And they do have, of course, things like the Valcult should they choose to, but it's a slow play from them, and Tripods have been playing very carefully so far today, being intentional about their rotations and constantly trying to set themselves up in advantaged positions, something they don't have right now. As such, the two teams disengage, moving over further south, and Luminosity are going to choose to tank the zone for just a little while longer in order to get that survey beacon scan.
It might give you the information you want here, but I can't imagine much of success when we talk about some of these rotating squads. Granted, though, it does seem like the eastern edges of our zone are much more contested than anything that might play out ahead of Luminosity. It's the dramatic information that they just don't have as they find their way likely towards checkpoint.
I really appreciate that with the information they got off of the survey beacon scan, they move their way into checkpoint knowing, hey, Furia just cleaned house. They may not know it's Furia, but they know a team definitely did it. Tripods, however, they rock up and find themselves a trident. Certainly doing some damage to it on the way out. And while they don't find any kills right now, it'll cause them some problems on the way in if this team starts to pay attention to them. Good smoke coming out of Deeds to make sure the approach is covered by Tripods.
I'll tell you what, I like SCS if they can put themselves in this particular octagon quick enough and potentially pull this one back round to Tripods. They might be able to defend Edge here because the current one that Tripods is situated in is not in zone. And granted, there's some minor cover you can work with shorting right up against checkpoint, but it doesn't really get that much better.
Taking a look at what Gent can do for right now. It's up to Tripods to control as much space as possible, given that they have to continue rotating further up towards the north. You can find a knock, a shield break, and maybe that combined with a wall could get you a good rotation. For Furia, the story is very different. The last time we saw them, they were at checkpoint. Checkpoint, Zephyr!
Yeah, and it was just one simple Valve redeploy that carries them here. Now, obviously, I'm shocked just as much as you are that the presence within North Pad is as weak as it is. It's even allowing more squads to do the same, albeit Xset in a much more primed position to take advantage from these angles here.
You may not like it, Zephyr, but this is what peak performance looks like. Xset sat up on the wall, with a Sheila and triple amped cover. This is the dream for XSET right now, and plenty of sniper ammo to rain down upon their enemies.
A single box keeps them within it for now. For XSET,
あとはまた X セットが
バカ強い位置取ってるね。
上位7、8位ぐらいまでは残れるんじゃない？ここにいるだけで。
Good to find out pretty darn soon.
X セットはマジで最終アンチを取りすぎるな。
Pushing even more squads
最終ア
uncomfortably
ン
close
チを
together.
取ってるけど
It's
も
where Dark Zero are
そ
going
ん
to
なチー
start
ムじゃねえんだ
evaluating
よ
their
な。
options
20
as
スキル
well.
チャンピオンとか
Down in the
余裕で
south,
取れるぐ
they
らい
haven't
戦闘
moved
強い
in
チームなんだ
quite
け
a
ど
while.
戦闘強いチームがしっかりとアンチムーブをするっていうメタになってきてるのかな NA は。いや落とされた。あ、なるほどね。バルメタでもあるんだ。シーラはホライゾンメタにもなるし、カタリストメタにもなるし、
You may not like it, Zephyr.
バルメタにもなると。
This is what peak performance looks like.
やんなっちゃう。いやもうこんなもん。こ
Sheila.
れやってらんないねこんな。
Finally making her way into the ALGS after so
別ゲーじゃんこ
long.
んな。
It's good to see Nocturnal
COD
having a bit of fun up on North Pad. It's bought us enough time that this zone is just about closed. And XSET are going to have to figure out what their next moves are, presuming that the zone does not continue pulling over towards them. Ooh, looks like 100 Thieves getting a little bit of a
設
tickle.
置型置いてる方が
And that's exactly what it is.
DPS は高いですシーラは。
Not much
手持ちより。
XSET, truly, but something knowing that they
気持ち
are
ね。
going to
気
get
持
that
ち高い。
ultimate well in position as they come into the end
やってる
game.
ことやばすぎ
I don't
X
think
セ
they'll
ット。
have the opportunity to truly
も
use
う
it.
ランクだったら
I mean,
もう
I've
全員
seen
切れてる
Nocturnal
ぞ。
pull off
こ
some
んなんやられたら。
insane rotations with that Sheila directly in hand.
The really nice thing for XSET is that
Oh my God.
they don't even, oh, it's another one. They don't even have to really think too hard about this next zone because it's still continuing to pull on over to them. They're going to get to continue cyberbullying the rest of the lobby for as long as they can. CLG actually pulling off the res after Nano went down earlier, and this one gonna go relatively unpunished by XSET, albeit Shiny does eat a shot to the face, another one in the side, and maybe, just maybe, CLG are on the rocks.
いやきついなでも。
I know that this
いや
massive respawn is a
いや
giant
ほんと
red
嫌になる
flag
ね。
upon the sky for someone to
ナノは
capitalize on. I cannot
意外と生き
believe
残れた。
that Nano makes it out of this and potentially might even go back to his box
No way.
and reclaim.
さあ、
Okay,
そう
right
自
up
分
against
の
the
自
wall,
分の
please.
こ
Right up against the wall.
されそう。
Just waiting for Nocturnal to swing around
Hey,
on it,
to
whip
Anjo
out the
外れたから
Sheila once again. However,
あ
CLG are
一緒
even
シーラ
going
も
to
う
use
ザ
the
ック
Dark
もう
Veil
あも
right now
うシーラ
to
失い放
section
題だ。
off their corner of these bunkers. Thermite landing and teams are definitely looking
あれはも
at
う
them.
陰
They're
キャじゃ
gonna
ねえ
have
もん
to
な。
push
あの
up
シーラもう
past
むしろ陽キャ
100
だよね。
thieves. And a miracle that
立ち
they're
回
even
りは
alive right now is finally XSET takes
高
notice
所
of
か
the
ら
high
遠距離
ground,
チクチク
ripping
陰
the
キャと
shields
言いが
right
ちだ
off
けども。
CLG.
あれもう陽
But
キャの
they've
状
made their
況。
way across towards the direct low ground. I'd say pond that exists just outside of North Pad, but it's already held by none other than Drop and Gaming. Nowhere to go. Right back into the face of 100 Thieves. Now with height underway. We've got to be incredibly careful how they try to stay true to this trench
飛
line.
ぶ。
Oh god,
あ、
we've
やめた。
seen the Valcult take
さ
so
すがにやめ
many
た。
today, and it's a quick cancel and a nice
撃たれた
call
わ
at
けじゃないの
that
に。
from 100 Thieves. They round the corner
さあ、ワンダウン
into
したくない
death
よ。
and
いや、や
find
ばい。そう、
themselves
やばい。
face
シーラや
to
ばい。シーラやばい。
face
シー
with
ラ
the
やばい。
rampart.
うわ、
Finally
最悪。
taking down
最悪だね、こ
Vaxlon
れ。
from afar, and 100 Thieves
バクシロン、ぶ
lose
ち切れ
one
です、これ
but
は。
get to continue.
ただ、
E8 move in, clear out,
あ、無理
Drop
か。
in Gaming, and
もう
Jets
二人
looking
で
to help do the same here
トライ
with
ポッ
his
ツと
own Dark
E8 の
Veil
戦
in
闘を
play. A massive
振れんじゃない？
breaks through. Mazer is designful. A single digit of help to potentially do him in here on the side, but he barely manages to find himself space to play above.
It's another well-secured KP, however, as Zach looking not only for the shield swap, but the additional points for the team. Now, maybe has the chance to recover some banners. We know the 100 Thieves as a duo are still on the low ground. Gent The
ジェントも一人生き
solo
残
of
ってる。で
tripods
E8 と
also
トリ
still
トライポッ
alive,
ツは一人ず
albeit
つ。
only for a little while. As 100 Thieves have found him out and are looking for the finish.
取り
SCS
切れんかっ
go
たね。
down. 100 Thieves
無理はしたくないんだろうね。
unable to actually clean up this kill for just a moment will leave us at 11 squads so far.
A slow move forward, but instead at the hands of Zero. Apparently with
賭けが
angles of
一気に
his
増えたね。
own there from
112
the
になったも
top
んね。
of North Pad. Now,
さあ、も
once
う
again, we
激陽キャ
revisit
激
our
陽キャムー
friends,
ブ
the
エク
addiction
セット。
in hand of Nocturnal as it currently is. We didn't
はい
really get
や
to
ってる
call,
マ
but
ジで。
there have been quite a few
1枚
kills
1枚
that have come out this
1枚
way.
は
Oh,
こん
look
な
at that! Just across, they're trying to take out. Look, double Sheila
ダ
beamage.
ブルシーラだよ。
You get a bullet. You get a
まさか。
bullet. You get a bullet. X set are
まさか
having fun.
プロ
And
のし
I
かも
bet
NA の最
they're
高
in the
峰の
next
NA
zone
で。
as well. Looking at the positioning,
こんな
out
に
of
弾
fun
集
right
まんね
now.
えから
Looks like
シ
the
ーラ。
very tip of this is still
デビュー良す
in.
ぎ。
Oh my god, the zone.
やばい
The
やばいやばい。
reload
やってること
saved
やばいです
that
この人た
battle
ち。
cult.
ヤクザで
And
す。陽キャ通り越しヤク
fortunately
ザですやってる
enough,
こと。
we get to keep another squad. X set
Japanese mafia
rotating
です。
forward to find their next power position.
As I say, this is the only thing that slows
フュ
their
ーリアは変わら
onslaught
ず
for
いい
the
位置裏側
bare
取った
minimum of
てか
time
裏
that
側
exists
取っ
here.
てなんで
Meanwhile, opposite side, direct center of zone,
なんで
Furia, who hosts
こ
their
こまで生き
own
ていけるかっていう
rampart
と
positioning,
全部
forced
あの
into a
ヤクザがね
situation with double
前をね弾いて
exhibit
くれてんだよ
down.
ね。そのおか
Looks
げで
like
フューリアが
100
守られ
Thieves
てる。
pinned off in their own right with
ケツ持ち
Luminosity
をしてくれて
choking
る。
them out from the side.
Gone now,
うまい。
and
そうこういう
unfortunately,
使い方ができんのよ、シー
my
ラ。
board unable to survive.
グレーに
Nice
グレ
block
メ
from
タでもある。
Nocturnal. The Sheila,
いや
or
ばいや
rather
ばいやばい。
Rampart
やばいやばいやばいやばい。
Micro really coined it in there. Another
俺は
knockdown,
ノクター
and
ナ
it's
ル
no
帰り道気をつけた方がいいぞ。
surprise that I'm getting confused between Sheila and Rampart because Nocturnal is making
あ
them
う
look
よ
as one.
ぶち切れた。フューリアが
It's finally time to bring
ケツ
him
持ちしてく
down
れたのに
at
フューリア
least
の
for now.
逆襲されてる
He'll
ヤク
still
ザ。
be able to clown around here in a moment, but it doesn't come
もう必要ねえと。やばい竜が如くみたいになってきた。
positioning.
竜が如くみたいになってきたって。
damage
ケツ持ちいらねえから
provided
ヤクザぶっ倒そうぜみたいに
Wait,
な
I
って
want
る
to。go back on Nocturnal's POV because I haven't actually seen how much literal
さあただ
damage
問題なく
he's
禁
done
止
this
列を起
round.
こせて
It's gotta be ridiculous with how much
ちょっと
harass
入
has
ってん
been
だもん
throwing
な。しか
out.
もそこ
But
バルジャ
it
ン
may just be coming to an end, Zephyr, because
できる
XF
かもしれ
will
ないな。
have to drop. This position no longer in
しねえ
zone
か？
for them.
どうする？
Already, the round is starting
普通
to
に降りた。
close, and Noct is going to commit himself
いや、もう
onto
潰
the
しに行っ
low
たね。
ground, bringing the rest of the team
やばすぎ。
alongside him. It's a hard commit onto Dark
で
Zero.
ほぼ
We're
被
now
弾
taking
なく
down
シ
XF
アウルトを
top
耐え
4.
たから
And with
玉対
style
策も
off
し
of
っ
the
かりでき
wall
てる。
bounce there,
ポジ
Nocturnal
って
is
いや強
primed
す
and
ぎ
ready
エクセット。
to set
うま
up
すぎそれ
upon
は
the。edge. Shield on the other side, not allowed to exist, especially in the face
ハンナが
of
増
Furia,
して
who
速い
they in their own right are trying to defend. Glitch out ahead
Wow,
of them,
Nemesis.
tracked, beamed, and dropped. Sorcerer Impulse taken out, and Drug Free
下の
is sent
下は
home in 4.
And it just happens all so
Yeah,
quickly.
そんな当たる？
There is no bullet that is missing, whether it be
また
from
また
Sheila, the
また
Nemesis, the R9.
違う、フューリアもヤクザだったんだ。
Furia are playing on
構
point
想だ。
right now and still have the amped cover intact.
フューリア
A
組
reload
とエク
necessary
セット組の
on the
構想です、これ
Sheila.
は。
So going to be placed down on the ground for now, but Furia have more than enough
ヤクザ
space
対決。
to take
ヤ
their
クザ対
time
決はどっちが勝つ？
approaching on towards X set. Once it almost goes down.
G が
X
それ
set
に残
around
って
the
るけど、
corner and lose
さあ
one.
ヤクザとヤクザの対決だ。
Fine. Very quickly losing out on the actual amp portion of it and having to play the knockdown shields. Nocturnal
さあ
still
組長は
alive, escaping
あ
through
組
the
長は
back.
生き残
They
ってる
are
エクセット
avoiding
組長が
Furia,
生き残って
running from
て
them like the plague.
フューリアの組長は生き残ってる
Meanwhile,
か？
Glitch on the other side, forced to take this up
しのぎを削っ
against
ている。
Furia. It is a moment of respite that allows Xset to survive here. A
フューリア
revive
も起
trying
こ
to
し
be
て
stuck, but it's canceled out by the micro drones. Xset, this is their time to move.
They're getting shot in the back though.
潰しに行った。もう G は一旦ほっといて、うわただやばい、これ G 勝つ。うわ
Nocturnal will survive.
ソロで
And
勝ちました。
Glitch will take it all.
Ring
いや思
around
った
the
よりあれだった
rosy
ね。
here. Glitch from the edge of
早
zone.
く
The
潰して
one
残り
with
1
the
人を2人で
hardest
潰す予定だったんだろうけ
position
ど
to play out of
思ったより粘られたね。
continue to defend their position among
まあ
the
そうだ、
top
まああれは
of the leaderboard
正
and
直
win
ソロは
the
ほっとくのが
game.
最適解なん
God,
だけ
I
ど
love this game.
予想より
God,
粘
I
ら
love
れちゃ
this
った
game,
ね。
Zephyr. Watching that play out was
いやヤクザ
so
対決で
much
した。
fun. And
最後
as you
に
said, a
最
little
後
bit
に
of
桐
ring
生一
around
馬が
the
取り切りまし
rosy
た。
at the end. I found
一人で。
myself contrasting it to the end game that we had just in
Punishment from a
いやでかっ。ソロで生き残って18ポイントはでかすぎる。これは G マジででかいね。レックセットはヤクザポイントが9。 フューリアもヤクザポイントが8入っております。あとはダークゼロも本当アンチ内にいてちょいちょい出張行ってキルしてってのがねめちゃめちゃ目立ってるね。ルミノシティは、オプティックをボコボコにして気持ちいい6ポイントを手に入れてますと。さあ GE が非常にストーンポイント調子がよく3試合で 48% 平均16ポイントだ。平均16ポイント取ってるよ GE。 X セットもX セットもねめちゃめちゃ強いんだけどね GE が調子良すぎてるね。でダークゼロは最終円に残るとかないけどもちょいちょい中盤の順位ポイントとキルポをそこそこ稼いだことによって3位まで上がってきてると。まあここまでいくと、次の試合でこの20ポイント付近のチームのどっかがガッと上がればって感じかな。この上位3チームはこけない限りはもう居続けるんじゃないかな。じゃあワールドエッジいきましょう。さあオプティックはどうすんの？またルミノシティかぶせんの？
Yeah, I feel like a lot of our teams playing, you know, quote unquote edge have actually been not finding a lot of success here in North America. It's really tough on a lot of these rotations just getting the information. You know, you think of the ring console availability, the scan map, or the map survey beacons for the map scans. It's tough. And now we're looking at a zone that is pulling straight towards the southern central area of World's Edge. And Optic is over there at Big Mod, and Luminosity have made their way to Lava Siphon nearby Dark Zero.
Oh my lord, another contest early on, and Luminosity actually seem to be doing pretty well, almost taking down Rambo. Haven't lost anybody yet, however.
Rambo was within the smallest sliver of his life. Luminosity definitely has that health advantage to them, finding that Spitfire Devo. Weapons, you cannot be picky if you're deciding to contest and look for a new drop spot POI, especially when you're challenging Dark.
Done.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of our teams playing, you know... Yeah, I feel like a lot of our teams playing, you know, quote unquote edge have actually been not finding a lot of success here in North America. It's really tough on a lot of these rotations just getting the information. You know, you think of the ring console availability, the scan map, or the map survey beacons for the map scans. It's tough, and now we're looking at a zone that is pulling straight towards the southern central area of World's Edge. And Optic is over there at Big Mod, and Luminosity have made their way to Lava Siphon nearby Dark Zero.
Oh my lord, another contest early on, and Luminosity actually seem to be doing pretty well, almost taking down Rambo. Haven't lost anybody yet, however.
上位チームだよ全部。
Rambo was within the smallest sliver of his life. Luminosity definitely has that
ルミノシティは
health
本当に嫌になっ
advantage
ちゃ
to
う
them, finding
ね。
that Spitfire Devo. Weapons, you cannot be picky if you're deciding to contest and look for a new drop spot POI, especially when you're challenging Dark Zero. Things can be really interesting. And just like that, Rambo is going to go down, but not before Neil takes a lot of damage from the back, and now Yanya and Jaguares are going to have to step it up.
これ激しい
Devo
な。
at close range, going to be really important, taking
世
down
界大
Jen
会に
Burton
向け
and
た
leaving us with just
ランドマーク
Sharky
っていうもの
holding
が
out the Dark
争い
Zero
が
flag.
行われてん
He
だよな。
does
もう予
find
選
the
で潰
first
しと
knock.
こうとか
Yanya
分からし
still
とこう
on the
みたい
escape
なの
right
が
now, but
勃発してる
Alternator
な。
PK coming in for Optic Gaming as they show up. Luminosity losing out on Jaguares and dropped, looking for this final member. That third party was instant.
Wow.
Bro, Optic Gaming, when they see Luminosity, wherever you go, I will be far behind you. They immediately press into Lava Siphon saying, no, this is not going to happen. We want a hand of this. But Zero, with that thirst, able to get the full elimination onto Jaguares. But you have to make a move. If you already know that 3P is coming in, this is where you just disengage and maybe potentially play for banners. Yanya, you can see on your screen right now, has not recovered either of them and is basically utilizing the L-Star with the minimal bullets that he has to try and do some kind of damage onto Optic. But you know, once they get that scent of like trouble in the air, they are going to keep pushing forward. You have Skittle Cakes on the horizon, which is one of my favorite things to see. That aggressive nature, they are running them through Lava Siphon.
I'm getting flashbacks to last game. That ring around the rosy as flesh has already been found in the last burst connects. Dark Zero and Luminosity dropping almost simultaneously as CLG randomly benefited from this fight.
CLG, if I'm not mistaken, is still kind of dropping Harvester, so they probably were very close to be able to rotate through that and not far from the engagement. But as you think of the zone pulling a little bit further south, they would have prio to rotating out of that. So think of the teams that land tree. You know, they are going to be able to set up shop in those back buildings alongside an Optic looking super clean. A great start to their World's Edge. But let's check in with AJC. You know, they seem to be getting into a little engagement here. It's actually going to be onto glitch energy. That is not good for them.
It's unfortunate to lose somebody so early. I'll say the good part of this is that no one else seems to be around, so we aren't going to get any ensuing casualties, as Reed was able to effectively disengage, actually grabbing Vane's banner on his way up towards the northern side, where, as we've already illustrated, zone isn't going, so plenty of teams should be rotating out of here. The problem is, if Xset are still around, you're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, you have to think back to kind of what Zephyr was talking about, your looting times, your looting pattern when you have to go to a south zone. You know, hey, maybe I'm not going to be the first team to get there, especially if you land Skyhook West in trials. It takes time to get through the trials and get that loot and prioritize your rotation on that. So if you overextend out to look for a reset, you have to keep in mind, hey, I know who lands out here, which is all part of their macro strategy that they work on, and I believe Glitch Energy has one of the most solid teams behind the scenes. Not counting just their players, but they have been set up with some of the most talented analysts and coaches to take on the success.
純粋にプロリーグの予選からと招待組で分かれるとかがあるから、下位のチームできるだけ上にいた方がいいんだよね。だから最後まで何かを捨てるってことはねしないようにね、みんな頑張ってます。さあ、えぐいアンチ寄ってるね。3だね、これは。
keeping that banner safe, and so you're not going to be able to get your full three-person squad back into the game. Instead, if you res, it's just going to be on one. Meanwhile, however, teams are continuing to pile in towards the south, and it seems like we're getting a very similar zone to what we saw in the EMEA earlier today. As over by Tree is pushing to come in late, but that thermal station side can get real spicy.
近かったら早く入るし、遠かったら外ムーブみたいなね。
That's why I say saucy. I'm literally reading a name. I did the same thing with Caustic earlier. My brain was just kind of like, what is it doing? But launch site, you have the map scan available to them if they haven't utilized that yet. Then you can kind of get a lay of the land. But you see Noxious is trying to make a play for rotating down onto that southwestern side of the zone. But it's going to be E8 and NRG that are the closest teams to them, which are going to be some powerhouses that you have to get through, and Zach Mazer wants to start garnering some KP to make sure that they can move up the leaderboard.
At this point, teams like Noxious, NRG, E8, they know that they're likely not getting the zone pulling to them. If anything, E8 may benefit. And curiously enough, teams that are in a slightly better position include Rise, who, struggling today, haven't really heard from them just yet, but was hoping that we'd get some action out of them. Maybe their game to shine. Out towards the eastern side of the map, Optic find themselves in an engagement over by Lava City and Big Mod. This is their real POI.
Can we just talk about how Optic rotates into Lava Siphon to 3P and then rotates back out? They're going for the negative rotation to try and find a fight onto Edge. At this point, I feel like Optic is like, we will take you down. We will find you. They're going to try to Liam Neeson some of these people, and it's working. And SCS, yeah, they're high ground and no real like kind of damage to their health just yet. But this is going to be dangerous. If Slayer on your screen right now can find a cheeky LOS and put down some significant damage onto Optic, that's going to be tough.
Shutting them down would be big, and it appears that Optic are really heavily trying to disengage, buying time for a potential third party to come through here. If you're a squad that lands up to the north, it's not unheard of to try and move your way through Big Mod and maybe even Lava City. So Optic are going to try and disengage real quick, leaving Skittlecakes behind as Nock goes for the banner recovery.
これはうまいかも。ああ、ただ来てるわ、トライポッツだ。トライポッツが判決側が来たからもうおしまいです。まあ、ただ真ん中回収したからスキットルケーク逆にこれ逃げられれば。That leaves Skittlecakes all on their lonesome as Tripods has moved in for the 3P. Now I believe Nick Merckx has been kind of IGLing, and I think Jen is doing a little bit of counter calling here. But Nick Merckx, when he senses that there's a fight happening, and he can say, you know, I hear something down here, maybe let's grab a scan, let's see what's going on. We saw this happen
happening, I believe, a little bit more recently. It was either in scrims or kind of the pro-am, and they had actually fully sent on a fight that was not necessarily the best rotation, and we were talking about the discussion that had kind of happened from it, and I actually thought it was a healthy discussion, Via.
It really was. And I liked seeing, you're talking about the little video between Nick Merckx and Hal talking about their encounter in Geyser, and honestly just seeing people thinking out the rotations really hard, understanding that perhaps the best play for both of them ends up being the worst play for the other, and that's the reality sometimes. Is certainly that's even true for tripods right now as they're getting pushed up on. It's not a particularly tasteful situation, but right up against SCS, they were pressured back, opening up Optic again to come in and grab the banner. They now should have all 3 members in a recoverable state as long as they can get to a respawn beacon.
Yeah, Deeds does have the Valkyries available to him, but they did burn a lot of resources. They both went through 2 seer exhibits, and now you think, okay, you're right, Optic was able to get the banner, so Skittlecakes on that defensive now is going to be able to push right out of here. There's a respawn beacon just inside the ring. They could potentially find some loot here, and then they have a full-on reset. And they're currently in 12th place after the first 3 maps, so this is pretty critical for them to maintain kind of the conditions that they've been going. They've been doing so well throughout their last match days, and that momentum needs to be built.
Yeah, it's no longer a question of if Optic can get all 3 back into the game, but when it happens, because that's the tricky part right now. The zone's starting to close, and you don't want to pick your teammates up too far out of the zone. Simultaneously, you don't want to be putting them right next door to everyone who's already crowded in. So difficult decisions ahead of Optic. Everyone else, however, already starting to make their way in towards Tree. And as we illustrated earlier, you want to be getting here as fast as possible. Very difficult zone to play, and most people have set themselves up already. I'm really liking the position of 100 Thieves as it's extremely flexible in between those slightly more thermal favored pulls and the ones that do go directly towards Tree.
Ooh, now we get to check in with 100 Thieves, currently 6th overall on the day. They were your match day winners the last time we saw the DNC meet up on March 18th. So it's been a little while, but Scurry still electing to utilizing a sniper. This time it's going to be a charge rifle, and this was the conversation we had heard on Nicewig's podcast, in particular the charge rifle. We kind of hint about it because typically anytime you see a nearby Valkyl, that Valk will immediately be punished and cut down from the air. We were putting a counter up on map number 2. I saw at least one, but that was due to a nemesis. And you think about kind of how that changes the way you want to approach rotations with Valk. And a lot of teams are really starting to think about that, because I think in North America, it has been punished by far the most. But Optic Gaming able to get the reset. Skittlecakes has been able to get dropped and knocked back in the game. They've already found some good shields. They're crafting up medkits, prepping for that journey towards Tree.
Yeah, this is a very worthwhile move, and great prep from Skittlecakes as well to pick up all of the resources, the crafting materials over by Big Mod, converting them into medkits for the team in that replicator over at Lava City. He's got even more to pick up now, and everybody's going to be able to benefit from this, making sure to tank the zone. They only have a minute and 45 seconds, however, to crest from Lava City all the way over to inside of Tree, bypassing launch site. No part of Lava Siphon is in. So as much as I appreciate Optic setting up right now, we're coming up on the time they got to start hustling.
Yeah, the time is of the essence, and Tripods right now in a little bit of a scuffle here. 9th overall, and it's going to be against SCS Capra. You know, it has done a lot of really amazing things mechanically for some teams. Kind of had to go through, find a new position, and now found himself on SCS. And I think it's nice that we're getting to see them on the broadcast so we can see how this team kind of functions and works in true engagements. They've already got at least 1 KP for this match, but time to make a break for the top 10 overall on the day. As you can see, Slayer just looking for an LOS. Now that Skull Piercer on the wingman, so once it connects to the dome, it'll be a nice opening for them.
It's just a game of buying space right now. These ordinances not even meant to kill, but just to push you back off the pillar. Deeds goes down as a result. and SCS get a small numbers advantage that they'll be
いや
able to press in
強気
the upcoming seconds. Not playing greedy
うわ
at
一人
all.
やっ
This is
て
a very respectable
あ
fight.
フューリアからの車線
You
取ったの
need
か
to bide your time. There are a lot of teams that are going to be in that next zone, so they'll be keeping watch for this. You can see the grab lift coming out from the horizon and a seer exhibit nearby, so a lot of information. But SCS has maintained their health until a one
いやこ
click
れ
from
視
behind.
野気づけんかったかさすがに仲間の視野
Fire is almost too much to bear. Only
あいや
3 bullets
た
in the
だ
R301,
ワンピ
though,
ッ
so
ク取
dire
られなかった
situation.
の偉すぎ
A
死
good
なな
wall
かったの
separates
偉すぎ
SCS for now, but you already know that finding flesh around the outside, a third party is incoming.
ただ復活の
Optic
オプティ
have
ク
re-arrived. They
リベンジ
started at
さっきはよくもやってくれ
Lava
たな
Siphon,
と
and by God, they're coming back to
これ
end
熱
whatever
この
fight
リ
just
ベンジ
broke
戦
out.
Look, they have to come in and dominate this fight because you do
ただ
not
橋側
go
のフュー
on
リア
the
の車線きつ
massive
いけどフューリア
regain
もちょっとや
to
り合ってるか
fall
なこっ
on
ち
your
かまってる
next
暇なさそう
engagement. That is not what we're going to witness here in Skittlecakes.
飛
With
んだ
the charge
いや
rifle
これ
is
これまずい
seeking
ぞ
to aim
これまずい
straight
ぞあー死ん
at
だ
the
Oh no!
Wow.
Make it another one. Slayers
もうダ
goes down,
メだバル
forcing
キリ
SCS to fall to their death outside of the ring
ダ
here.
メだよバル
That's
キ
the
リ
whole team. They can't recover from this. You spend
もう
so
無理だ
much time falling down that there's no way you get
フォーカス
inside
で死ん
zone
じまうバルキリ
3.
はもう
A tragedy befalling SCS on the escape, and another Valkyrie cut short.
I'm telling you, man, this is a real discussion.
俺は
Charge
ちょっと
rifle,
こんなん続いたら
Valkyries, name a more conflicting duo, but
Valkyrie
Furia getting into
減
some
るぞ
action
さす
just
が
like
に
that. Glitch energy is eliminated at the hands of Furia and
あんなもん
Xset,
なん
but
か
they
やっ
need
てら
to
れなくなるもんなあん
maintain
な
their
死に
cover here
方
behind these rampart walls and stay relatively healthy, because if they were in a sense fighting alongside Xset, that means they're
フュー
relatively
リア
close
があの
and they
最
need to
強
prevent
そう
themselves
エクセ
because
ット
look
フュー
at
リアみたい
that.
な
Xset,
戦闘
Furia
最強
side
チーム
by
が
side,
中
and
ムーブしてるのが
Xset
本当やばい
has a good advantage in the
完全
positioning
中
here.
ムーブってよりか
In
は
both these teams with
第
excellent
3
high
円
ground,
4
a lot
円
of
ぐらいから
natural
入っ
cover
てその
afforded
橋を
to
取ってる感じ
especially
がね
Fury, who have a really
で
straightforward way
今
of playing
ワー
out
ルドエ
of
ッ
their
ジは円がね
position.
振ら
It's
れ
relatively
るから
safe
ね
to use things like the Valkyrie
だから
from
第
there.
3円
Not
4
that
円
they
で
should
橋
be
を取って
by
た
any
ね
means. Everybody calm
のが
down
結
on
果
that
最終
one.
近くなるっていう
Furia
傾向
are
が
actually
強いか
looking
ら
pretty comfortable because check out the zone.
Ooh, able to grab a knock onto Nocturnal himself. So smokes are going out there trying to go ahead and get a nice little regain, and his Watson just keeping their eyes out,
記
looking to
憶が
potentially
正しければ
cancel
フ
the
ューリア
res.
とエクセットは元チームメ
Don't
イト
think
がい
he
る
was
んだよ
able to
な
make that happen, but he does
FPS
get
とか
some
は
information.
多分元フューリ
Meanwhile,
アだった気
100
がするん
Thieves
だよな
able to completely drop in gaming. So let's
さあ
take
こ
a
こは
look
ラ
as
イズ
now
と
Tree Dia has
SCS かな
erupted in
ドラッ
chaos.
グフリーかドラッグフリーが
This
や
is
りやすい
really rough as Drug Free take control of the fight,
Yeah,
taking out
Nemesis.
Rise. The squad in 30th place is going to
Like,
stay
Yofuga
there
も
for
早速来ちゃ
now,
ったと。
but Drug Free gets shot in the
いやー、
back on the
そうだ
disengage.
ね。
They can't pick up Hakulo because Noxious are here to party.
13部隊だもんね第4
Noxious
円の
are here to
橋は
party,
玉
bro. There
来
is
る
no
よ
party like a third party. They have the health advantage, and now they are looking to
Noxious.
completely wipe them. Drug Free is now eliminated.
Drug-free
Bats are
を
being
しっかり
hit,
倒したと。
and now they
でもあれ
look
から来ない。
to seek and regain that
CC と
strategic
CLG
position. But let's jump on board CCE and CLG.
ガス、あ、ガス
A
使っ
little
て
bit
る
of
珍しい
Mamba caustic action. Where better to take this than inside of building CLG, kind of
さあ
utilizing those
新キャラ
Nox
に
gas traps to take up
立場が
space
奪われそ
so
うな
they
ガ
can
スを
reset
最後
before
の優
going
勝を見
back,
せ
and
る
they
か
already have a knock onto Hambino,
ど
so
う
this
せ
is the upper hand that
自
they
走投手は
needed.
強いだろう
So
し
3v2 here.
This is what
Yeah,
makes
Brother.
CLG so special as well. Their use of the caustic
got
on World's
倒したと。
Edge, where so many teams will try and fail, or even at times hesitate to try. CLG innovate as they move
来たか？
through
来たね。
the season.
下回だ
Nades
けでな
coming in,
きついが。
however, and this caustic gas, the only thing between them and oh
ガス
my
つら。
lord, a barrage
ガ
of
ス、
nades.
グレ
Is
つら。
somebody actually playing Fuse?
I just think that man had 10 nades in
た
his
だ、
pocket. It's a
あー、た
horrible
だ、
feeling when the
いや、
PK
た
hits
だ、
for
キ
9,
ー
but we're gonna
91
double down with the
キー
91. It's
91だよ。
Noxious here for the third party,
キー
and
ス
they're
コ持ちただ。
relatively healthy considering the 3v2 situation because they were able to grab a knock onto
う
one
わ、
member
いい、
of
まだの
CLG
車線だ。
window.
それ誰の
Will
車
be
線
the
ですか？
elimination of Alexis, but E8 also falls. This is relatively chaos, and now you're fighting,
外
trying
の
to
車線は
utilize
誰
the
です
seer
か？
tack,
ワンハンド
force
ルシ
some
ーですか？
information through the gas, through the smoke. Cupsky
あ、シェル
playing
死ん
his
だ。
teammates knockdown shield, trying to withstand
Wow.
it all, and
11
CLG
タン
team
い
is
やいやも
eliminated. But
う
the
や
fight's
ばいや
not
ばい
done,
玉フロ
Dia.
の連鎖玉フロの連鎖
Husky
オ
just
キシジェンが
keeps
来た
peeking it, and this time it finally bites back. Oxygen take the wide swing, failing the first, and now
Oxygenは
looking for the
デュオか。
second.
Wow, duo
We've seen the
で全部取り切った。
situation before. No Digi. series, but a numbers advantage
Optic もなんか死ん
still
だ。
brings Oxygen out on top. And Hill
Fury やった
can be able to
Exit.
collect plenty of loot as Optic and Fall in
わー、
the meantime. Exit
取り
go
た
down as well,
Furia.
and Furia, they are the ultimate victors in the
そこ
RP.
に対して
We were
NRG がいや
curious
もう
about how that
漁夫
was
すご
going
い
to happen because we knew they were going to
Gyofu
push
すごい。
onto each other, but NRG wants a piece of Fury
うまい。
on the Dark
今の
Veil coming out and
その
Sweet
ウルトはうま
closing
す
the
ぎる。
distance with a PK in such
さす
a
がスイートで
well-timed
す。
third party, able to
ただ
eliminate
そこに
Fury
デュオの
like they
X い
didn't
やた
even
だ
exist. A gold
削れてないぞ。
knockdown did
いける
not
か
help their reset, but guess what? Oxygen wants to 3P once
もう
again.
フルヘルス
Dia.
だよ。
Look at this Catalyst wall, though. It's just stopping everything. Oxygen can do nothing in the face of the Pharaoh
これは
fluid,
NRG
and NRG
逆
have
に
all the time in the world to recover, to
逆にやりきる
reset,
か
to wide swing like Gilderson's
あー、やり
just
きった
did, destroying Senox and taking down
もういい
Oxygen
舞台で。いや、
esports.
早すぎ。ど
NRG
うした
make
どうした
top
どうした
2, and it's not even close.
Are we getting to see our
100 セ
first
ーブスは
isolated
もう
fight?
ゆっくり
NRG versus 100
ゆっくり
Thieves.
上
It
と。い
only
や、これ
took
きつい
them
な。
to
ウ
being
ル
the
ト使っちゃった
last
しな。
two teams. Onmu putting out a
これは
significant amount of
シーブ
damage,
スだな。
remaining healthy
さす
throughout.
が
You
に
can
これ
see
返
just
したら
how
もうやばい
100
よ。
Thieves is
エナジ
taking
ーは。
so much space on
ダメだ。も
NRG. You
う強す
cannot
ぎ。
withstand. You have Vaxlon on the high
位置が
ground,
強すぎる。
beaming with the Nemesis, just trying to make
あ
sure. And they
あ、
still
お手
have
本のような
ordinances,
グレ。
Dia.
So many nades,
そして弾いて
so much damage is being thrown
もう
in. By the
こん
time
な
NRG
綺麗
do
な
finally have
追い
to
込み
push
量はあ
out,
りませ
they're
ん。
going to be in shambles, and 100 Thieves don't even give them that chance, don't even do them the decency of choosing their own demise. 100 Thieves send it onto the low ground and take the
そ
winning
れ
game
覚悟
4.
でキルボ取りに行ったんじ
So
ゃないかな。
incredibly well played. Just the amount of space
あそ
that
こだけで
100
こう
Thieves
キル
was
ボ取れてるか
able
ら。
to collapse around NRG.
もう美味しいで
And
しょう。
that's tough. You see Oxygen immediately playing for second or third by taking that fight on to Furia and then, or NRG, my apologies, and then
That they were able to pick
さ
up.
あ、ハンドル
Looking
チブ9キル、エナジー5キル、最後のキルだけだったのね。オキシジェン、フューリア。うんうん。やっぱ、この多分第4円ぐらいでキルが活発になって、漁夫みたいなキルポイントの、触れ方だね。さあ、総合順位ははい。おー、グリチエナジーが初動で確か落ちちゃったんかな。なんだけども、キープ。エクセットがどんどん上げる。44でチャンピオンの100実率42。ダークゼロが多分早めに落ちちゃったからポイントキープ、NRG 上がってきて、フィーリアも上がってきたって感じかな。うん。いや、残り2試合で言うと、チームインターズ、フューリアぐらいかな。フューリアぐらいはまだ全然1位はある。上位6チームは、団子って感じだね。オプティックが、ちょっとなんか波乱は起こしてますね。ちょっと荒らしてはいます。じゃあ5試合目いきましょう。さあ、初動でルミノシティは、
and they've had
フラ
a
グメント、
tough
フラグメ
time
ントが
so
両
far.
方空いて
Pulling
ま
us
す
up
けど大
towards
丈
the
夫です
north
か？
and largely actually
フラグメントが
including some of the
あれか、オキシジェンが
Skyhook
最速
East
ムー
area.
ブすぎるからあれ
Understanding
か
where this one's going.
鉄骨ムーブとかしてんのかな。
Obviously, when we do have a pull that does gear towards that skyhook, you can count the southern end of it. But I would
さあ、オ
say,
キシジェ
given
ン
how
最
much
速ムーブすぎて
proximity is still left
CC と
available
ぶつかり
towards
ますけ
the
ど大
outskirts
丈夫
here
ですか？
of northern landslide, we can have a direct finish there, or potentially even our ones that cater more directly towards our recon outside of the, my apologies, Grand
ル
South.
ミノシティはもう
Everybody who's curious right now, yes, Dark Zero seem to be
結果で
just
もいいと
fine.
こ取ってんだよ
Lava
な、
Siphon,
毎回。
Optic have returned to
なん
their
か
drop
追いやられ
spot.
るけど。
Luminosity are in
フラグメン
Frag
トが全部
West,
空い
and
てま
that's
す。
just fine. As who could
恐ろ
predict
しい。
where they would be going in this game? But
これは
fortunately,
さすがに
it seems like no blood has been spilled to get them there.
こっ
Everyone
ちじゃ
had
な
to
い？
go their separate ways, with the exception perhaps of Oxygen, who have gone
夜
quick
かな？
early
いや、
rotate, whether that be
ワー
by
ルドエ
some
ッジ
pressure
マジで
from
このアンチ
Luminosity
一番
or
むずい気が
just
する。
desire to rotate
スカイ
quickly
フ
into
ックちょっ
zone.
と入ってるアンチね。
Now, speaking of rotating quickly into zone, 100 Thieves and Xset already taking up
マジでこれ
space
わかんない。
directly towards this skyhook area and may potentially rotate even further as we see some other squads. Inters notably, maybe even running into Luminosity themselves towards this spot. But I do like the proximity of teams that we do tend to get with zones like this. Skyhook leaves a lot of space available, even if you come in late to, well, we'll say zone 2.
It's just so many buildings in the area that surely you're able to find some piece to coexist in. The problem is really rotating there, especially when some of these squads like to do so quickly. NRG managed to find a few shots onto Oxygen ahead of them, but now that's getting traded right back as Sweet's got to take a second, pop a cute couple shield cells, and now start making their way towards Oxygen. I started to see, I didn't know, and I just went with cute. They're cute. They can be cute, right?
With the stickers.
Yeah. With the stickers, they can be cute.
Yeah. He's got a cute little skull on it. Either way, it doesn't end up being NRG who actually pushed pedal to the metal. It's none other than Luminosity, who just don't seem to have the quit in them, boy.
Finding yet another knock. Oxygen aren't done just yet. Finally, they will burn away inside this RV. Third party could be incoming, actually, as NRG decided to take that Valkyl. But it's CCE Uchinix who show up first, looking for these last couple members inside the RV. They should have the data that it's just 2 left, but Zerold hasn't gone out yet. Instead, it's going to be a nade that finds the first.
Not quite the drop, though, to follow suit there. That might be a perfect time for resets to occur here. Sauce already pulling this one back and away, utilizing that bracelet to gain a position. Now, granted, this still isn't any much better for Luminosity. CLG also seem to be arriving, albeit taking damage themselves.
Pushing CLG, like, the sniper tower has all of a sudden lit up, but it was Oxygen there earlier, and I can only imagine that it's NRG, but we'll have to find out, as this is continually going to be a problem for so many teams. E8 the ones that took the sniper tower, and E8 the ones profiting right now.
やばいな。あれで死んだらもう笑い事なんねんけど。
Obviously, CCE are clearly still well within their own pace. Can't say the same for CLG, apparently. Already done it and dusted on the other side of our action here in Landslide. And it once again brings to me the general synopsis of this particular area on World's Edge. It is chaos galore, and it never tends to change. And I think CCE have clearly remembered that.
CCE はそうだね。アンチに近いからプッシュが枯渇しやすいから、グローバー入れてアンチとの噛み合いも良くて。
So the fact that we're seeing so many rotates coincide with each other is a symptom of that very thing. The fact is that without practice, you aren't as good at recognizing when another team is going to be moving through, when you should hang back for a moment, instead of just walking out into the open. And once you are out by Sniper Tower, there is no place to hide. You simply must take the fight, and it's already felled several squads.
Now, thankfully, Luminosity does find themselves back into a place of health here, and if this zone does cater towards the landslide area on the northern end, they are going to be one of the first squads that do have the very few defensible positions. Speaking of defense here, tripods on the opposite, seeing where they can find the entry frag damage to chase this one out. Mercs in a perfect line of sight, but not quite the cracks needed.
Just one nice burst from the Nemesis, though, can take you down once the shield is cracked. So constantly looking for that bit of pressure. As you say, they don't find it for now, but tripods also aren't in a rush to move. Fragments still included, albeit on the edge of zone. During these next couple rings, as CC Uchinix pop the quick disengage through the portal, making use of the rotational legend that we talked about earlier that I'm glad to see is finally getting some attention paid here. Sawz with a real nice beam off the side, again uses that portal to disengage, just making these resets so safe.
I'll tell you what, it is a fantastic combo, but it's not something they get to abuse any longer. And even with that exhibit down, it's very unlikely that they pressure that space. Something that is impressive and good about this is the fact that, well, at the end of the day, there's only so many resources that Luminosity could possibly have upon themselves to stay surviving. We talk about quick rotations out of frag east into west directly towards this area where they've already taken one major fight, if not two. There can't be much more left in them.
Luminosity has already done incredible work being able to survive in this RV. It's much more than many squads would really be able to do. Unfortunately, survival not going to be favoring the tripods as Nick Mercs bites the dust right underneath Dark Zero and a recovering Dark Zero at that. They picked up a few members lost previously. Jen Burton's running around with just a car and 30 ammo, but somehow it's working.
Well, we'll see if they can continue to pump the damage necessary to put them up into a better place of health, or albeit maybe one that they can just steal away. There's definitely some purples out there if they can land the shots that be. Rambo's sending this one forward, capitalizing off of the horizon grab lift. It ain't quite the crack, but he's not gonna send it any much less.
If there's somebody that I don't want within 20 meters of me with an R99, it's absolutely Rambo, and a disengage is the correct call into Dark Hero. They're left floundering, really, in the middle of fragment. No purples, as you talked about, sitting on double white, not a whole lot in the way of weaponry, only an R99 and a card. Last time we saw Jen Burton, who's finally starting to stock up in the health department. CC Uchinix also suffering on the inside of Countdown. Rampart and Wraith both really having a tough time sustaining through all the damage that's being thrown at them, and Shinny finally does go down as NRG follow suit.
Saws Nambino trying to find an off angle here that will give them their survivability, but they end up running right into the lines of sight. That punish here. Sauce, you can hear just behind him with the bracelet, but just as quickly to face Nox.
And say send onto the low ground.
AJC
taking advantage of the situation by playing up on the height, while Xset continue to farm up damage of their own. CCE Uchinix fully eliminated. This time, finally going to be shut down pretty quickly. Luminosity still looking out for them as Xset eats some shots in the back. Recovery actually quite difficult from a position like this, as they aren't running the Rampart this time around. There's no real defense here, and there's no way that you're getting around that rock alive.
Anmu already taking a wonderful angle here to continue punishing Xset where they stand. Some piercing spikes definitely extended out, but there can't be much on that knockdown. A good arc. I like this. Pushes Anmu back and should be able to get Xset in a better position behind the rock, but he knows that the revive sticking. It is only one person left up to the defense here.
Half a person now. No more health to speak of. Anmu's continuing to try and find angles, but this interrupt on healings and resets is going to be much too late for 100 Thieves to capitalize. They lose that kill, unable to pressure adequately, and Xset with an expert defense.
Still though, it ain't over just yet. You can see Carmen Goat still trying to find off angles himself, and it's something that forces the Dark Veil to be utilized. Now granted, there's still so much space within Countdown here for Xset to potentially find themselves a defense position. AJC themselves happy to just slow this one down and not take any more further action.
Let's talk about where we're going after this as well, because taking a look at the minimap, we're continuing to pull less arbitrarily now. It's no longer a question of whether this will be in Skyhook or in the open ground outside of Landslide. It's definitely going to the open ground at this point. Teams are starting to respond adequately, either positioning yourself for these last few spots in Skyhook at a late Valkylt, or starting to make your way through the tunnel.
ランパットとかを入れるっていうね、逆転の発想だよね。ランクだとまずないよな。ストッポでランパット入れるって。オプティックはガチガチぶち殺す構成でキルをね取りやすい位置を取ってますね、雪山の。
Potentially sending this forward, a nice redeploy, or just some slow walk-ins. Granted, I'll tell you what, when it comes to any kind of redeploy or action between the Valkyries, do not expect a playable position on the other side. There is nowhere. It's already gone. Don't even try.
A zone like this reminds me a lot of the one that we saw in EMEA earlier today. You remember, Zephyr, when we pulled out towards the sniper tower just off to the western side of Trials? Because in a very similar way, yes, there's a sniper tower here. There's also just a lot of open ground.
It's still open ground that Optic has to cover one way or another here. Furia already taking major off angles against them to see if they can pepper the damage back before it is a necessary onslaught that they must provide. Granted, seeing that rotation immediately gives them access to try to cut this more southernly, knowing that they might have a numbers advantage.
止まっちゃうんだよ
Nothing
な
of the squad that
減
lie
速
ahead
で
either. We're talking about Furia Optic. Somebody's
2発目も食らい
definitely
や
at
すくなっちゃう
Grandma's house, and we've still got the choke in between Grandma's
さあ
house
校舎から
and
飛ぶか
Sniper
オプティ
Tower
ッ
to
クは
cover as well. So these teams, the fight is far from over for them. But Optic are going to crawl up
やるか
on this
やるっ
height
ぽい
and
な
ultimately take away quite a few sightlines from Furia, maybe opening themselves up for that Valkult, though we do
Furia
know
が
that it's
ダメ
quite
だね
risky. We're going to pop into a very quick listen in with Optic to see what their rotational plans are.
Like
さ
all
あど
this
ういう
rocket
戦闘を見
turn
せるの
shit.
か
Yeah. I think the
I'm
team
in.
from this building left. You just want to slide down now then?
Yeah, we could slide down and path from under bridge.
Okay, let's go.
There could be another team in here though,
Yes, I'm scanning.
like at
nothing,
the other
nothing,
buildings.
nothing here. Nothing here.
Feels
I
we're
don't see
safer.
anyone.
Hey,
I don't see anyone under bridge right now.
Good.
シールド2個しかない
There's a
ね
team to like the
This
left of it
team,
though.
this team might try and run down to it. We have to make sure.
Falling dropped. I think there's a team out wide left on the crafter.
Yeah, there is.
careful.
There is. Don't.
They're gonna
don't
try to
turn-
force on us probably.
Okay.
We're Empire team Valculted. Careful of the house team.
ランパートチー
Just
ム
let them fight over there.
さあオプティックはチョークポイントの南側
This,
取れ
this
た
rampart's
けども
Yeah, I
その子を待ち受けてる
maybe
な
it looks
ちょ
up
っと
to
ハイ
you
ド気
guys.
味
Is
で
there anybody on the left? I don't think so.
Hurry up
I
on
don't think
drop
these
here.
guys know
ワン
about
チー
it.
ム
bro.
待
I
ち
think
受
we
け
can
てるよ
walk
こ
up
れ
here.
気づかないよ
Careful of the house. They're
や
playing
り合い
the
と
drop.
挟まれちゃうよ
Horizon
オプ
queuing
ティッ
and
クは
ulting.
Yeah,
Ah,
they ulted. I'm on the wide
Kizita.
left. They're gonna fight. Shoot this guy.
Yes, we
Shoot
should
this
いや
guy.
違うやり合ってるやってる
I'm shooting the
さ
shooting
っき
the
ハイドというか
Horizon 60.
They're
On our
walking
crack
right, they're
horizon.
walking
4チームいる
I'm
この
walking
同じ
up
ライン
here.
上に4チームいる
I'm serial ulting down.
Careful of our right, guys. We don't want to get
Serial
here.
ulting down. Yep.
オ
I'm
プティック
looking
は
that
後
way.
ろも気にしなきゃいけないね
I went back down. I went back
On a
down.
rock. On
I
a
got,
rock.
yeah, on a rock, bro. I'm
そう
dead
結
here.
果
I'm
4チームい
batting.
るから1
I'm good, I'm good.
チーム倒しても挟まれた位置であることに変わりはない
Just reset. I hit one for 100. 100 banger on me.
I'm queuing,
which
queuing.
team?
I'm getting shot by the other team. The
Right
team
team, the
above
right
us.
team.
They went back. They went back.
Okay.
They're here.
This team is 3 deep up on
ど
this
っ
rock.
ち潰すかっていう話をしてるかね
I just let them push the Horizon team.
もしくは飛ぶか
I full killed the
looting.
guy.
I need ranges and medkits.
I can give you my
I
one
have
med
no
kit.
white meds. I have zero
Give
white
it, give it,
meds.
give it.
さあ下回復が
We're
ない
pretty much
ね
just playing for a Valkylt here to land like either on tower or beneath it, yeah?
Listen, listen. Do not let these guys get above us right now. They're
シ
getting
ガ
above
の
us.
9は当たっちゃって
Oh, they
looking.
just toe audio walked out. I'm batting.
で
I'm
き
batting.
ついねオ
Right
プティッ
two.
クきついね
I'm just gonna queue up and ult them.
さあ
I'm batting.
カウンターの
I
ウ
backed
ル
up
トを
over on
焚
me.
い
I'm
て
safe on me for now.
Batting. I'm batting. Let's go.
いやーめっちゃ入った
Nice,
めっちゃ入っためっちゃ入った
Sears 1 HP. Sears 1 HP.
あるあるあるあるある
I'm trying.
これ返したら強すぎだぞ
Right
オプティ
team
ッ
is
ク
helping us.
We need a path to drop.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going.
I'm gonna
We
queue
can
them.
probably swing behind this right
敵
team.
は
Yes,
赤
yes.
アーマー
Swing behind them right now. Come to me, come to me. Hard swing this guy. Up
あ
top,
違
up
う
top.
別
Hunter
青青になった
Pride. Sear crack, sear crack.
Yeah,
This
I'm
one.
swinging the
あ
Sears.
ナイスシア
I'm walking up.
シアクラック
I'm walking up.
I got Sears. I got Sears.
Almost cracked, almost cracked, Doc.
オールモストクラック全員割った全員割った
Dock one. Dock one. Got Valk.
Flash.
I'm batting. I'm
Nice,
batting.
nice,
I'm batting.
ナイスナイスナイス
I need a bat, I need a bat.
強い強い強い強い
Batting, Skittle.
Moving right, moving right.
We need to
The
take the
catalyst is
height.
still alive,
Take the
right
height. Take the.
テイクははい
Fine.
ポーショ取れ
They're
ポーショ取る
dying.
ポーショ取る
I'm getting charged right from the back. I need heals.
I don't have any.
回復ない回復ない
Are we walking up and taking
回
this left
復
move?
ないか回復するかどっ
Just
ちだ
try to get this KP on the left, I think.
Just get
ニ
the
ードって
knock.
どっちの意味なんだ
Okay. They're
We
still
can
fighting.
Valkylt right here. We can Valkylt, bro.
回復
we not
す
want
る
to
必要があるかな多分
Drop this
Okay.
one. Drop this one.
Alright.
あー
just
ド
get
ロ
out,
ップ
baby.
イズワンだよワンショットだよドロップ
Armor's up.
Down there. Catalyst.
Armor's
Catalyst.
up.
Hit 100.
Try dead. Nice.
Nice.
Walk out,
粘る
walk
ね
out, walk out left.
そうランチ入んなきゃきついね
Get.
大丈夫ドロップ間に合
Okay,
う
okay, I'm waiting.
目の前いるこれ
Now,
も
go,
潰
go,
す
go.
しかない
I'm queuing right, right for it.
Go left. Just
右
queue
あー
up
そ
the
れ
left.
はやばいその
Get to
ラ
that
ンパート
solo.
はや
Get
ば
to
す
that
ぎ
solo knock. Play his knock. Play his knock down.
I'm alive still.
He's above you. The...
おーちょっときつかったねちょっと後ろ側で戦闘長引きすぎたねもっと
That was
早
a
く
really
終わら
tough
し
fight
て
from Optic, but great
中の入り
calls on
方を
their
考えたかった
rotation
ねなんならばルー
and
トでもよ
an
かったけ
unfortunate
ど
situation
そ
that
の時間なか
Shrub
った
in
ね
Gaming have now capitalized on,
ちょっと
picking up
時間
those
かけすぎて
few
裏の戦
kills
闘
as they trickled through the eastern side of the ring.
I told you from the very get-go, there is really no space to play, and even as good
ドロ
as
ップイ
they
ンゲームズが一
survived
緒に
there,
力を打ち
they
下ろせ
never
この
quite
タイミング
defined
での
that
上
spot
は
immediately
強
off
いよ
the
車
choke.
線が
Dropping Gaming,
まあちょ
like
っ
you
と通
said,
ってるけ
happy
ど
to take
ちょっと
advantage
通って
of
るけど
so many of
シ
these
ミュレー
angles,
ションにはならない
finding KP against Rise and more. Sending them out in 8. They They are being tackled from the opposite end. And I'll tell you what, Dia, Sniper Tower goes bye-bye in 1 minute.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? It's an unusual angle for a zone like this to take, but we're going all the way back to countdown. And very few teams will have prepared for this. Interestingly enough, we still got some in the RV that Drop In Gaming have just spotted, and it's Luminosity. We're still there.
なんで生きてんの
I told you from the get-go, if they can hold on to it and they have the resources, it is
いやこのグレやばいね
Meanwhile, the Sky ordinances are coming through here as Furia try to push this one out in a way. Remember, no Zera, no Rampart, no extra defensible cover you wish you could have had, but still, no damage either.
And it's unfortunate for Furia to be operating at Watson. Good nade so far.
やばいやばいやばい入りすぎ入りす
He
ぎ
can finally peek up. We got a
お
knockoff.
お全部潰した
That's the full kill.
It's about time you saw them investing within it, and they are able to find at least the one. This should shore up the weakness of a direct 2v2 when this drop is necessary to occur. But no! Fun with the charge rifle!
It is the natural conclusion. A good pickup at the end there. And Fun, as you say, the beneficiary as Xset continue their rotation in smoking out the sightlines that would otherwise be harassing them. And it's them and Luminosity that do have to make their way ever closer in towards Countdown. 100 Thieves awaiting them right in front of Luminosity, playing the gatekeepers. There is meager cover down here, but it does fortunately exist.
場所がきつすぎるな
It's meager cover here, but it's one that they'll have to contest, especially in the face of Xset, as they might shore this one up ever so slightly closer to the remnants that they scurry. Big damage down. Onmu not looking much better either, but as the minute that Luminosity peaks, they themselves take it tenfold.
I can't believe that Xset made their way into zone. They were fully denied any sort of cover towards the south side of this, and yet they're playing right underneath AJC, who again have been here since minute 1.
セット耐えれそうだな
Try to see if they can maybe find the peaks around this corner. They need to start displaying some kind of space here. Obviously, nice scan. Potentially, if that Dark Veil is available, they can maybe cut the angles off the silos and start to walk this one forward on zone close.
100 Thieves large and in charge on these.
Cut it.
That is a wonderful catalyst wall. The scan's gonna come through, and AJC still find themselves in trouble for the next couple seconds, and they are on full vision, whether they want to be or not. Here comes the Bangalore ult from the low ground. We've got a Valkyrie taking to the sky, and we'll see where Noxus end up landing, as there is no real safe place to be.
100 が強すぎるいやたら早い
Push upon Scurry here. It's gonna be Luminosity taking this height away. Meanwhile, the rotation from the other ang does them in on the opposite side. Luminosity now in the dominant position to take away this lobby.
Things are gone, and like you said, it is God's spot for Luminosity. Up here on the silos, there are no sightlines, there is no challenge. Noxus and Xset right next to each other as AJC are the last team left on height alongside Luminosity, and they cannot contest this.
My question is, can anyone assume height here? Is there any other legends in play that can make up this difference? The horizon in the hands of Yonya, so crucial in this endgame, but they give it up to take it down. The fight ensues below, a 3v3, and they're more than happy to clean this one up. A 2v1 and still a win in our game
朝このバウンス守りきったね
信じ
てればいいことは必ずあるムーブだったね
anymore. As soon as AJC send it onto the low ground, it doesn't matter who comes out on top, because the Luminosity know that they're walking top 10 SCS, and
especially after some incredibly
ルミノシティが9キル21エクセットが9キルエクセットが一生いいポイント稼いでるルミノシティも今日はちょっと荒れたけども上位獲得してるとエクセットが1位返り咲きやっぱマジで強えやっぱマジで強えなこのチームまあ有名どころのねプロがもうみんなエクセットがやべえみたいな話はみんなしてるからね前評判も高いです ルミノシティが一気に6位まで上がってきた。でちょっとエクセット抜けたね、これはね。で次最終13ポイントがまあでも40点台にあるチームは全然返せそうと。ただエクセットの安定感的にはゼロで終わんなそうだよね。ゼロで終わる気配がないから、これエクセットさすがに1位かな。
Some stability does get found this time around, as I also wasn't sure what to expect dropping into this game. Oxygen are going to go all the way down south, this time contesting over by drop in gaming and letting Luminosity have all of Fragment. This is an adaptation that does favor Luminosity, of course, but leaves me with some questions regarding Oxygen's own
フラグメント1個もらえばいいじゃん。でもアンチはこっち寄ってんだよな。
Get a bit looted up, made her cater towards that siphon area. If you can maybe push Rambo back, but
すごっ。それ読んでんのか、オキシテンは。毎回。
This one, a bit of a split between both the launch site and siphon area. I kind of bet a little bit more towards siphon directly, given the fact that we are getting a heavier split of course, launch site, the P1.
And I wouldn't mind this at all, especially if you are a Dark Zero fan coming in today. They have been suspiciously quiet, having a few highlight plays here and there, but no real top placements. In a position like this, you were expecting, and if you're a fan, demanding that they make an appearance in that final zone and a convincing one. They've got just a little while until teams really start to funnel in. Those early rotators perhaps already showing up. It's time for DZ to decide where they want to play, because center lava siphoning can be very powerful, but also very risky.
限られてるからね、取れる位置が。
Personally, when I start to address zones like this, I always cater towards the edges of siphon, and especially ones that allow for potential redeploy or movement towards kill sides or, you know, launch site as it may sometimes cater towards that northeastern side here. So typically, look towards the truck lines out in the west, the fences in the back, the one building that exists there, or potentially the carts on that eastern side. Nothing in the center. Right? I feel like that is a spot for late rotating teams, given the massive size that you have to keep track of when you are playing from those positions.
さあ、この発射場の取り合いで先頭は大きそう。ライズとオキシテンがぶつかってる。そこの強い位置を取っていきたいけども、ちょっとライズは普通に移動するかな、トータルで。
And their option seems to be to bypass this whole thing, moving themselves out.
Nice.
Maybe even towards the low ground, but this is spotted and Red Sea is fried. No way out. Instead, the rest of Rise show up, but it's straight into a catalyst wall. See if they're able to pick Red Sea back up before taking the portal on the return, but it does not look like it.
回収したけども、今度はオキシジェンからの射線が通る。いやー。
That's gonna be it for Detox. A1s here looking for any kind of cover, and thankfully the low ground, as bad as it may be, might be the one defending factor that doesn't allow teams to. Well, I lied. I was wrong. Drop in finished it. They're gone.
I was really surprised at that as well. I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, they'll rat, it'll be okay. But no, it's not fine, it's not okay. Mistakes are getting punished, and severely so at this point in the game. Already, rotation came in from Dark Zero and Drug Free to pincer on the attempted move from Rise. And first ring hasn't even started closing yet.
No ring on close. No teams have learned to invest well within the world's edge area.
あれか、今ライズとやり合った関係でゼロが対面してたから、それで打たれたんだね、一緒に。発球取られたんだ。いや、これでも起こせねえじゃん、ここの位置にいたら。器用で生き残るしかないか、アンチがいて起こすか。
From Dark Zeros, they've got to recover their own Wraith. They have the next zone read, know that this is going to theoretically age well, but it's going to take a while, and it's not the optimal position by a long shot. Dark Veil acting as a pseudo-Wraith portal to try and make sure that you can run up on this uncontested, and even that, not going to be allowed.
Burton and Rambo back here have the saving grace of this catalyst It's not the prime position, and there's no real building you can hold out in its entirety on this legend, but just posturing might be enough to push certain squads back. CCE from this height, though, they're looking for their own angles of success. But my gosh, if another Wraith falls, I don't know what I'll do.
I mean, you overextend by just a second, and this isn't the Wraith of times gone past, where you hit Q and are instantly into the void. You gotta plan this stuff, Zephyr, and wide swinging without scouting that SCS are on the low ground, it's going to be punished. It's a good punish, albeit, by SCS, as they managed to pick up a good bit of loot off of this as well, and now it's a pretty easy game for them to continue executing on if they can find a little bit of cover, because you do want to make the best use of this catalyst.
I will say, if this is a zone that does pull back more towards that siphon area, towards this bridge and the cart that does exist slightly above it, they will be one of the first squads to play out and directly into a source of that endgame. It's far from guaranteed with the proximity that exists towards our launch site area, but it is definitely better than where they once existed.
Nice. I like the run up there from Jen. If you're going to pick two players to hold down a building, you do want to pick two of the best control players in North America, but even in the 2 versus the 3, they're not going to be feeling that comfortable, nor is anyone. Dark Zero forced to drop onto the low ground. As a reminder, Zero unrecoverable in this game, and it's looking increasingly like Dark Zero aren't going to have a particularly good time no matter what they do, because Drug Free recognized and instantly punished the fact that they were just a duo.
It's one of those very simple things. It's basic mathematics here, and with that Dark Veil, they'll continue moving outwards. A nice quick scan, I believe, with the Valk ultimate to make sure that they've got that sight line, and or if potentially just the misclick. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that Drug Free, they ain't going to.
Completely elsewhere on the map. Furia find themselves in a fight up against tripods. Some good angles in Fragment, absolutely available. It is one of the more entertaining POIs to fight in. A plethora of buildings for cover, small little ridge lines, and now open windows for Jen to just walk up right beside. That was not a good look, but he stays alive. And actually ends up almost finding the knock right here. Another gonna fall on as his Watson goes down, but Tripods lost one minute through the amp cover, not gonna land. Rampart stops through the roof right now. He dropped on Zera, almost manages to make it happen, but Jen survives with a sliver of HP, gets the shield swap, shotgun in the back, and he's gone.
Anders handles it with the minor source of time that he has to himself to pull for that recovery there. Watson back into a banner of Zera's, easily recoverable here, only 50 meters away to put this one back together in the best situation for Furia here. They still now have the opportunity to potentially go big or go home. Take away first from XSET.
It's the benefit of playing around the edge. No one there to go for the third party. Fragment, a ghost town outside of Furia, where XSET, a little bit more central at the moment, find themselves in a small skirmish over staging and a quick disengage to hopefully get them out to safety. They do have to run through the open, but fortunately for them, it doesn't look like anybody's shooting in the back. Glitch Energy, in fact, recovering as there's been a third party on the engagement from previous that almost takes out Reeds.
グリッチエナジーも1が狙える位置にいるからね、キル取ってチャンピオン狙いたいね。
Back up, granted. Rotation's inevitable nonetheless here, so even if they want to stay put, they cannot. Movement through the Harvester area back down towards this south side isn't the best of situations, but I will cater towards the fact that when we do talk west of Lava Siphon, there does seem to be a bit of nooks and crannies out towards that valley, and especially with the trucks, carts, houses, and boxes that be in POI Direct, Glitch should find a spot.
I know you're getting excited when your cowboy comes out, Zephyr. That was when I recognized that we were, in fact, in a deep Game 6 mode, and that the stakes are high, not just on the stage, but for us watching from behind the scenes. Glitch Energy, pull out the survey beacon here, find the map room scan, and now, with all the positions revealed,
登り
Their
やす
path
く
forward should be one that's a lot safer.
コンテナを置い
At
た
this
ね。
point,
変
you
わったね
rely
あ
on
れ。
careful planning
入
and
り口のとこ横
prediction
ちょ
of
っと
enemy
テクい感
movements.
じで登らない
Something
と上が
that
れないんだ
glitch
けど。
energy should be no strangers to.
まあさすが
Right,
にビ
you,
ーコン
you
置いて
made
ある位置なんだから
a
登りや
reference
す
to
く
it
せえやっ
fairly
ていうことで
early on when we were in the EMEA broadcast. It's the path
青
of
コン
least
が置かれてます
resistance.
ね。
It's something that doesn't get brought up often because we don't tend to show
さあ
off the
100 チーブス
recon
は
that
1
comes
部隊を
through there.
潰してバス
Granted,
を
it's a situation that they still have to make their way
バ
towards,
ス
and
の中
I
で倒したわ
bet
け
you
じゃない
it's
ね。
still
で
a
もバスを
dense
取り切りましたと。
problem
フュー
to
リアとエ
work
クセ
through.
タよく当
But
た
they
る
got
ね。
the info.
よ
And
く当たりま
that
す。
is
ムーブ
the
が似
best
てるし。
start you could potentially ask for.
Xset and Furia at each other's throats, moving through Lava Siphon, both on the late rotate. Remember that Furia just recently managed to find themselves an engagement and win it out in Fragment. Now, perhaps looking for a second, but the charge rifle will put a quick end to all of that, as you do not want to take a fight with a charged rifle in the back.
We've gotten to the point here when it comes to any kind of
NA
engagement that will persist. It's
No.1
guaranteed to be followed up by more than one squad here for Furia.
最強
It's
格
a
の一人
reasoning
ヒズワットソ
for
ン。
why they are slowing the pace, even if it does seem to be directly on edge for the likes of them. Granted,
アーマ
remember, fourth place,
ヘルメッ
46
ト
points. They're going to need
バ
a
ック
whole lot more
ノッ
than
クダウンシール
restraint.
ド
They
すべて
want
な
to
し
come
で
past Xset here.
マスターに到達してお
They
りま
got
す
the
この
chance
男
to tune
化け
in
物です
earlier
ね
with a squad that,
シン
unlike
プルにアーマ
Furia,
ーなし
isn't
だけ
taking
だ
a whole
とアー
lot
マー
of
なしでソロ
100
でプレデ
feet
ター
to
行って
put
ます
themselves in the
そもそもソロでプレデ
RV
ターがも
right
うチ
outside
ート
of
の関係上
Lava
無理なん
Siphon,
ですけ
down
ども
towards
基
the
本的には
southeast. And
フルパじゃないと全然プレデターとかいける代物ではないんですがソロでアーマーなしでプレデターに行きました本当に化け物ですこの人は
I've been watching Onmu for quite a while. He's been
化け
watching
物
Apex,
オブ化け
playing
物
Apex for quite a while.
多分プロでも
Curious how that'll work
全員
out.
で
It
きるか
seems
って言わ
like
れたら
glitch
多分全
energy,
然できないと思い
unfortunately,
ます
perhaps not having the best time as they have lost one. They lose another as a quick race portal out keeps them relatively safe, but Vayne is difficult to pick up in a
ソ
situation
ロ
like
ス
this.
クワットでね
Tough to
チ
say
ーター部
exactly
隊
where
とかだった
Aiden
ら
wants to
勝て
play.
な
We
いから
talk
ね
about the space in these buildings just being too large to get a true handle
中
on
来
it
てま
over
した
between both
あー
doors, two
ジー
squads
は
on both angles, and
これで1
nowhere
位の
for
可能性
Glitch
は
to go
なくなりまし
down
た
and
ね
out in 18th. You'd think it'd be better, but these
Oh, no.
teams just have been
さあ
fighting.
NRG は
Look at
もう
the
ちょっ
stick
と
on NRG.
Sweet
Placement
shields
point
are
とか
gone,
そん
but
な
they
に高
deny
くな
the
いか
res
ら
on Shamamba, continuing to push up and chewing through
こ
the
の
knockdown
週
shield.
で
The
3位以
fly
内とかに入っ
sweet
と
is
かないと
enough,
結構
and
きついよ
Shiny goes down. It takes a high caliber of squad to win a fight,
7
even
位とかだ
after
と
being
足り
struck
んぞ
by an arc star.
世界大会
Door
NRG こ
tries
の
to
ままだ
get
と
locked down there. Nathan might pay the price. A single digit of health left standing here. They've got to pull this one back and away towards the exited end of our Lava Siphon building. For now, Luminosity on the opposite side. They themselves
Luminosity は
not
起こし
looking
たかな
much
一人
better. Nasal actually dropped. I believe
CLG もいる
it's Nano who finds this.
Still alive as well, despite that big beam from Jaguaris.
いやきつい
CLG
ね
do go down, but it's a trade even then. And Nizel still sitting back, does need a little bit of help to get back to
Yeah,
Yanya and the
さすがに
squad. Jaguaris not safe at all, and Luminosity likely on their last legs.
いや2つ目で
Likely
きそ
out
う
of
というこ
this
とで
zone
バス
as
に入
well.
って起こすという
Forced
選択肢は
out
捨
of
て
play
て
here. They had such
一旦
a
様子
good
見ます
spot. We never even got to talk about it. This one pulling back towards Siphon direct, almost utmost guaranteed to go towards that truck in the hillside in the end game. Yanya now having to deal with both angles, but we hop back on over with Furia, who hadn't found
1v1
much
か
better for themselves.
じゃあ後ろからジェットが
Close
全部やっ
range
た
shotgun,
あ
gonna do it for Jet.
3
But
チー
an
ムいたんだね
instant thirst by that
終的にオプ
zone
ティッ
that
クが
was
全部取り
closing
切り
in,
ま
an
したと
optic right next door to clean it up. It's a nice, easy victory for them, as there was no
上
time
に
to
上がってきた
adapt
と
as
ころ
any
だった
squad on the
CC に
height.
削られてく
CC
る
Uchinix
CC ももう
still hanging out there, an
もう
optic, considering
終
their
わりの
options
終わ
as
りの
they
隅っ
push
こ
up. I'm not sure if dropped knows, but
クー
he
ルで終わりだよあ
certainly
れ
has got an idea that needs start to fly
いやー
through.
入る
You can hear the big damage coming through from behind there. A bit of a block with the knockdown shield, but Optic are going to make this tried and true. A guaranteed bracelet from the Loba carries the last member of CCE Uchinix away, but Optic now have the confirmed height to play with, especially going into this next zone. They won't do it yet. Instead, we go to Xset.
ああいう時ちょっ
Arcstar's
と嫌
buying
だ
a little bit
ね。
of space, but Sykes down and
サイクスセット
unrecoverable
は
there. A knockdown shield is what he's providing to the squad right now. Nocturnal with the Digi, continuing to provide cover fire for the team and sincerely good damage. But it's not going to be enough. Xset cannot pick their third back up no matter how hard they try, and instead they must just engage down on the low ground where they have no cover and now no friends. Sykes is down and Nocturnal's
さ
all
あ
alone.
V 最強決定戦のコーチも務めたノクターナル選手。
to find a
なんとシー
position
ズ
to
ン中
play
にも
with
か
your
かわらず
out
コーチもしてく
from
れ
the
るなんと
West. Now
懐の
granted,
深い
anybody who gets an
選手なん
absolute
でしょ
rip of the man
う。
that
おそらく日
lies
本の
below
ファンも増
should
や
be
してであ
able
ろ
to
う
finish
ノ
this
ク
one
ター
off,
ナル選手。
especially when we talk about this next zone and how many of these squads have to leave Siphon.
E8 in a pretty smart
E8
position.
は
They're
構
getting
成の
the
利を
free
生か
cam
し
on
た
it now, but they're sat
ルシは
right
ちょっと弱そう
underneath
だけれ
the
ども
bridge. A dangerous
いい位置は取
spot
れたんじゃ
if
ないか
people
な。
choose to drop on them.
多
But
分今
until
まではア
then,
ンチに入りきる
very
前に
nicely done. 100
移動でぶ
Thieves
つかって死
push
ん
their
じゃった
way
っていう
out the
ケー
cart,
スが多
leaving
くてあ
just
まり
scurry
ポイント伸
behind
ばせて
to
おりません。
defend. Quick scan should allow them to pick up an extra kill as they are being active from the RV and Vaxlon benefiting most of all with the rest of the
さあ
squad.
NRG
Helps
が
Onmu and Scurry pick
SCS を
up
取り切
another
っ
extra
た
point. 9 squads left,
E8 と
and
の
SCS are not one.
E8 の車線も
Here
伸
they
びてた
go.
感じ
They're
か
one of
な
the。few teams that have access to this car. I don't exactly abide for playing directly into it, but this height alone is
そう
enough of
100
an advantage
チームは
when we talk
3
about
キル取
this
っ
final
て
zone,
2位
albeit
まで上げてきた
contesting
よ。
against the likes of so many of our teams here.
海の
E8, Oxygen, Energies,
いいが
and the
倒れ
Rats.
たから。
Noxious from one
さあ
angle as
スイ
well.
ートしか残ってない
Remember,
NRG。
E8 still playing
こ
on
れ
the
は
low
世界
ground.
大会に向け
Oxygen
て
right above. It's a sort of power couple that we've got
今日
going
は
on with
5位
both
以内
these teams denying the
とかには入
bridge
って
to
おきたい
any
ところ。
rogue squads that would enter.
じゃな
Under
いと
these
世界大会の
cannot
キックが
afford to
もらえません。
overextend
この
though
スプリット2
because
では。
their spot is a game-winning one up on the RV. As long as they can control high ground, they should be able to put themselves towards
オン
at
ムが
least
弓を
third
構え
place.
ております。
We look towards some of these next positions. This zone is going to be catering more towards the western side of this height, notably where we currently see Noxious and the
こ
little
れ
bit
は
of
さ
the
あ
cusp
ノ
of
クタ
that
ナル
hillside
い
that
い
still
いい位置
has
ですね
been
そ
played. They
こ。
can't quite peek it just yet. There's still too much attention from
さあ
E8 over
は
on
ど
the
こ
side
だ
of Siphon's Bridge there. And
100は広
yes,
く取れてるけど
Nocturnal,
も
the
オキ
last
シエンと
remaining
E8 がい
rat
る関
left
係
in
で
the
ぶ
game.
つかるんだよね
Everyone
早くね。
else a
で
full squad.
NXS とかは
Looking down at the low ground, Optics waiting there as well. 100 Thieves should have most of this
割といい位置なんじ
information.
ゃないかな。
Onmu's been doing a really good job of extending outwards, scouting with the Seer. We can say the same of somebody like Vaxlon, who is willing to go out, cover with his teammates,
70?
set themselves up for a nice spot later in the game. What 100 Thieves have is good positioning. What they're running out of is
さあア
time.
ンチがもう何にもねえんだな多分遮蔽が。
Xset aren't in this lobby anymore.
ま
This
たあ
was
れ
the
じゃないの
team
最
that
初のうち
came out
始ま
on
る
top
直前と
amongst
か始
them
まった
all
時
in
に
groups
終
B
わっちゃうんじ
versus
ゃないの
C. And with that fight already taking place, this is big
さあ下
damage
の
they can take
E8 にグレを
advantage
飛ば
of.
して上の車線を
Thieves should be walking it forward
広げる
onto E8. There aren't
逆
any
回り
knocks
し
on
てうわ
E8
いい
though.
車線やそれ
You have to put in the
う
damage.
ますぎる
Dude, they're gone.
グレで奥に行かして逆側から上から打つ完璧だったね今
and now are one of the few teams
さあしか
to
も
pull
ちょっ
out
と
in
お
a
店
way
で
they
美味しい
still
物
have
資
to deal with Noxious though. But I
さあ
love this off
NXS
angle.
が
Look
挟
at
まれて
Vaxlon
ん
who
な
is back on that anchor, and from
い
the
やこれオプ
opposite
ティックが
side
強い
they're
ぞオプティックが
actually
強い
being pinched out here.
ただ上
Nocturnal's
下
punching
だ
up
から
placement points as well. This is the silent story of this game. But there's
ヘイ
not a
ト
whole
は
lot
買っ
of
てないんだ
angles
けど
on him,
下
and
だから
instead,
な
other
最終
squads
的に上
around
から
are
打
in
ち下ろさ
trouble.
れたら
Turbo
ワン
3
V
have to drop
3
down.
対
They
3した時
attracted
に
a
負
lot
け
of
ちゃう
attention from Optic, whose attention is now split with 100 Thieves starting to make their way onto the low ground.
さあソロ
Nocturnal
のノクターナル
finally
は
picked up in the midst of
な
that
くなった
crossfire. Some minor revive is
さあウ
coming
ルトを
through here
焚
in
い
the top
て
end
オ
for
プティックから
Noxious.
の
But
車線を
Underthieves,
切って
knowing
安
that
全
they
に
have the
潰
damage
したい
to try to send
安
it,
全に
but
潰
they
したい
don't quite cut off drug free. Instead, they've still got both of these
ただワンキック取られ
rosters
た
in place, and while Noxious go
マジオウ
down,
ム
they lose out on one.
返しが痛すぎ
It's a big play for 100 Thieves, but with Onmu
いろん
out,
なやつにいろんなダメー
Noxious
ジが入っ
gone.
て
Only
ワン
3
ピック
squads
取り
left.
づらい状況
Room
にな
for
ってるな
error is nil.
つびつ
Quick
つびつあー
revive
ワン
going
ワン
on to
ブイツ
Onmu, but they don't even stick it.
いやー返した
Three
ナイス
squads
で
left.
ちょう
100
ど
Thieves go out
カタリス
in
トが
third. third.
開い
Just
た
the
が
last two fighting, and Optic have full
オプティック
control from the low ground. 140
レーバー
directly
入
to
っ
the
てもう
chest.
一発い
Quick
く
shield swap will not be enough.
あ
And
ートリック
Optic
ショットした
Gaming will
こ
be
いつ
taking the last game
こい
of
つ
the
マジで
day.
トリックショットしやがった
A fantastic recovery for Optic. Well deserved, especially after what we were liesting to early on in our World's Edge match here. More than happy to see them take it into second.
8キル20ポイント、まあ、結局順位上げてきて、まあ、これで世界大会勝くかな、オプティックは。さあ、最終の、まずこの今日の順位、X セットが、まあ、ノクタルナルハイドもあってね、あれのハイドしてたおかげじゃない ?1 位、いや、X セット強すぎるな。ちょっとおかしいな。でオプティックギュッと上がってきて、まあ、GP で NRG と NRG、あ、5位入れたんででかいね、この5位でかい。ダークゼルがストップ強いけども、ワールドエッジがちょっと伸び悩み43ポイントと。じゃあ、プレセメントポイント見ますか。さあ、オプティックが、いや、X セットおかしいって。X セットは試合数少ないですよ。ちなみに。試合数少ないけど全体2位です。はい。アホスケです、X セットは。オプティックは、まあ、試合数多いとはいえ、まあ、角だね。まあ、ここはオプティックは角でしょう。ダークゼロも、まあ、角だね。まあ、100セーブスは、まあ、100セーブスまで、まあって感じかな。NRG はここの位置にはいるけども、多分そんな余裕はない。結構きつい。結構きついです。NRG はちなみに。ここから C がね、ガンガンってくると思うから。
Finals because things are going to
やっぱ TSM 下がったでしょ
Furia still kind of getting off that bubble a little less. They came into this match day in 12th, so now they
as long as
ここからちょっとずつ C がね上がってくるけど C がね意外と成績良くねえな。そう考えると X セットX セットフューリアルミノシティぐらいかな。この3チームだな多分県内なの。だからそう考えると3チームしか入んないから10チームに3だから残り3と 4B と A で3と4って考えた時に 1,2,3,4,5,6,7 あ、やっぱこのワイルドカードぐらいまでだね。 NRG は結構当落線上結構きつい位置にいるって感じだ。なるほどね。さあおそらく NA も EMEA も残り1試合をやってB 上ファイナルに臨むって感じかな。だから次の週終わりで80ポイントぐらいを取れてないときついかな。B でいうと80取れてるのがオプティックダークゼロって感じだね。エクセットはもうまあマジ角だね。ここから落ちることはまあほぼというか確実にありません。まあ来週の注目としては TSM が来週こけちゃうともう世界大会に行けない位置にいるっていうことですね。というわけで ALGS に関してはまた今週の日曜日に APAC ノースを見てでその次の週の平日、まあ月火が普通に平日、ゴールデンウィークだけども平日だから、まあそこで見るんじゃないかな。そのまま EMEA と NA をそれぞれで、今やってるハテナの塔をクリアしてあとは、まあ、ちょいちょいやりたいインディーズゲームがたくさんあるので、まあ、それをどんどん配信していこうかなと思っております。ということで今日の配信はここで終わりたいと思います。ご視聴ありがとうございました。また次の配信で会いましょう。最後に高評価、チャンネル登録ぜひぜひよろしくお願いいたします。マジでお願いします。高評価、チャンネル登録お願いいたします。あざす。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。あす。